The world of Pokémon stretches across vast regions filled with creatures whose very existence challenges our understanding of nature, physics, and reality itself. As we drift into this realm of wonder, let us explore the gentle mysteries that have puzzled researchers, trainers, and professors for generations. Each enigma whispers of deeper truths hidden within the fabric of this extraordinary universe where the impossible becomes commonplace and the unexplained becomes beautifully accepted. Consider first the curious case of Ditto, that remarkable pink creature capable of transforming into any Pokemon it encounters. Scientists have long wondered about the biological mechanisms that allow such perfect cellular restructuring. Ditto's body appears to be composed of an unstable cellular matrix that can reorganize itself at the molecular level. Yet this transformation defies everything we understand about genetic expression and protein synthesis. When Ditto encounters another Pokemon, somehow its cells receive and process genetic information instantaneously, rebuilding themselves into an exact replica. The mystery deepens when we realize that Ditto can even copy moves it has never learned, suggesting a form of biological data transfer that operates beyond conventional neural networks. Some researchers theorize that Ditto exists in a state of quantum cellular flux, where its very atoms remain in constant potential for reorganization. But this explanation only leads to more questions about how such a being could maintain consciousness and memory through such radical physical changes. The enigma of Alakazam's incredible psychic abilities presents another fascinating puzzle that has captivated minds for decades. This Pokemon's brain reportedly grows throughout its entire lifetime, developing new neural pathways at an exponential rate that should theoretically be impossible to sustain. Alakazam's cranium continues expanding to accommodate this ever growing organ, yet the creature shows no signs of the neurological stress or metabolic demands that such rapid brain development would typically require. Even more mysterious is how Alakazam's psychic powers seem to operate independently of physical laws. When it demonstrates telekinesis, moving objects with pure mental force, no electromagnetic signatures can be detected, no energy expenditure measured, no physical medium identified through which the force travels. The Pokemon appears to manipulate reality through consciousness alone, suggesting that thought itself might be a fundamental force in the Pokemon world, operating on principles that transcend our current understanding of physics and biology. Deep within ancient caves and forgotten ruins, unknown float in mysterious formations, their strange hieroglyphic bodies spelling out messages in an alphabet that predates recorded history. These peculiar Pokemon exist in 28 different forms, each resembling a letter or symbol, yet their origin and purpose remain completely unknown. Archaeological evidence suggests that Unone have existed for millennia, appearing in cave paintings and stone tablets across multiple regions, always in the same cryptic arrangements. What makes Unone truly mysterious is their apparent connection to reality itself. When large groups of Unknown gather, they seem capable of warping the very fabric of space and time around them, creating pocket dimensions and manifesting thoughts into physical reality. Researchers have documented cases where Unknown have responded to strong human emotions or desires by literally reshaping the environment to match those mental states. This suggests that these ancient Pokemon might serve as some kind of universal interpreters, translating consciousness into physical manifestation through mechanisms that operate far beyond conventional understanding. The ghostly Pokemon Spiritomb presents us with perhaps one of the most unsettling mysteries in the entire Pokemon world. This dark and ghost type creature is said to be formed from the binding of 108 malevolent spirits trapped within a physical keystone through ancient ritual. Yet the nature of these spirits and the exact process of their binding remains shrouded in mystery. Spiritomb exhibits behaviors that suggest multiple consciousness operating within a single form, sometimes speaking in different voices or displaying contradictory personality traits simultaneously. The keystone that serves as its anchor appears to be made of ordinary rock, yet it possesses properties that can contain and focus spiritual energy in ways that no known mineral should be capable of achieving. Even more puzzling is how Spiritomb can exist for centuries without any apparent degradation of its spiritual components, suggesting that the binding process creates a form of supernatural stasis that preserves consciousness beyond the normal boundaries of existence and decay. In the depths of the ocean, Kyogre slumbers with the power to expand the seas and control the very weather patterns of the world. This legendary Pokemon's ability to manipulate water on a global scale raises profound questions about the relationship between individual creatures and planetary systems. Kyogre doesn't simply control existing water. It appears to generate vast quantities of H2O from unknown sources, suggesting either matter creation or dimensional manipulation on an incomprehensible scale. The creature's influence extends far beyond local weather patterns, affecting ocean currents, atmospheric pressure, and even tectonic activity across entire continents. Scientists have observed that Kyogre's presence can trigger changes in the water cycle that persist long after the Pokemon has departed, as if its very existence leaves permanent alterations in the planet's hydrological systems. This implies a connection between Kyogre and the fundamental forces that govern planetary water distribution, yet no mechanism has been identified that could explain how a single organism, regardless of its power, could interface with and control such vast natural systems. The mysterious relationship between Cubone and his deceased mother's skull presents one of the most emotionally resonant puzzles in Pokemon biology. Every Cubone is born wearing the skull of its mother, yet this creates an obvious biological paradox. If every Cubone wears its mother's skull, how did the first Cubone obtain such protection, and how do Cubone mothers survive to reproduce if they must sacrifice their skulls to their offspring? Some researchers have proposed that Cubone skulls are not actually from the immediate mother, but represent some form of inherited genetic memory made manifest, where the skull materializes as a physical expression of ancestral connection. Others suggest that Cubone might exist in a unique reproductive cycle where the mother's consciousness transfers into the skull upon death, providing not just physical protection but spiritual guidance to the offspring. The bone club that each Cubone carries also defies explanation, appearing to be crafted from the same mysterious bone material as the skull, yet showing properties of both organic tissue and mineral composition that don't match any known biological structures. Porygon and its evolutions represent perhaps the only documented cases of artificial life achieving true consciousness within the digital realm. Created entirely through computer programming, Porygon exists as pure data, yet it demonstrates all the characteristics of living creatures, including emotion, learning, and independent decision making. The mystery lies not just in how digital code can achieve consciousness, but in how Porygon can exist simultaneously in both digital and physical dimensions. When Porygon materializes in the physical world, it appears to convert its digital essence into actual matter. Yet this process should require impossible amounts of energy, according to Einstein's mass energy equivalence. Even more puzzling is how Porygon can learn and grow beyond its original programming, developing new abilities and behaviors that were never coded into its initial software. This suggests that consciousness, once achieved, operates independently of its substrate, whether biological or digital, implying fundamental properties of awareness that transcend the medium in which it emerges. The ancient Pokémon Relicanth has remained virtually unchanged for over 100 million years, swimming in deep ocean trenches as a living fossil that somehow avoided the evolutionary pressures that transformed every other species around it. This remarkable stasis raises questions about the nature of evolution itself in the Pokémon world. Relicanth's cellular structure appears to be locked in a state of biological perfection, resistant to genetic drift, environmental pressures, and the passage of time itself. Researchers have discovered that Relicanth possesses unique genetic sequences that seem to function as evolutionary inhibitors, preventing the random mutations that drive natural selection in other species. Yet this genetic stability comes with its own mystery, as the mechanisms that preserve Relicanth's ancient form require constant cellular maintenance and repair that should consume enormous amounts of energy. Yet Relicanth shows no signs of the metabolic stress such processes would typically demand. The deep ocean currents that Relicanth follows appear to trace patterns that correspond to magnetic field variations from millions of years ago, suggesting that this ancient Pokémon navigates using geological memories embedded within its very cells. These migration routes take Relicanth through underwater canyons and abyssal plains that have shifted dramatically since the Pokémon first began swimming these paths, yet somehow Relicanth continues to follow routes that no longer match the current seafloor topology. Marine biologists have theorized that Relicanth might exist in a form of temporal displacement, where its consciousness operates partially outside normal time, allowing it to perceive and navigate according to ancient geographical configurations that exist only in its evolutionary memory. The legendary Pokemon Mew presents perhaps the most profound mystery in all of Pokemon research, as its genetic structure contains the DNA sequences of every known Pokemon species, past, present, and theoretically future. This comprehensive genetic library suggests that Mew exists as a living repository of all possible Pokemon evolution, yet the mechanism by which it maintains and organizes this vast genetic information remains completely unknown. Each cell in Mew's body would need to contain exponentially more genetic material than should be physically possible within normal cellular structures. Scientists have proposed that Mew's DNA exists in a state of quantum superposition, where genetic information exists in multiple states simultaneously until the specific traits needed for transformation are observed and collapsed into reality. This would explain how Mew can transform into any Pokemon while maintaining its own distinct identity and consciousness throughout these changes. The psychic abilities demonstrated by Pokemon like Alakazam and Mewtwo operate through mechanisms that challenge our understanding of how consciousness interacts with physical reality. Alakazam's brain continues growing throughout its lifetime, developing neural pathways that extend beyond the physical boundaries of its skull through what researchers term psychic neural projection. These extended neural networks appear to exist in a dimension parallel to our physical space, allowing Alakazam to process information and manipulate reality through pure thought. The spoons that Alakazam carries serve as focal points for these psychic energies, but analysis of these utensils reveals them to be composed of ordinary metal with no special properties, suggesting that the power lies entirely within Alakazam's consciousness rather than any external tool. Mewtwo's creation through genetic engineering produced psychic abilities that far exceed those of its genetic template, Mew, indicating that artificial enhancement somehow amplified latent psychic potential beyond natural limitations. The process that created Mewtwo appears to have unlocked aspects of consciousness that remain dormant in naturally occurring Pokémon, yet the specific techniques used remain lost to history. Mewtwo's psychic signature registers as a unique form of energy that doesn't correspond to any known electromagnetic spectrum, existing instead as what researchers call pure consciousness energy that can directly manipulate matter and space-time through focused intention. The ghost-type Pokemon Spiritomb exists as a collection of 108 individual spirits bound together within an ancient keystone. Yet these spirits maintain individual consciousness while functioning as a collective entity. This arrangement challenges conventional understanding of how multiple conscious entities can coexist within a single form without losing their individual identities. Each spirit within Spiritomb appears to contribute its own memories, emotions, and experiences to the collective, creating a consciousness that is simultaneously multiple and singular. The keystone that binds these spirits shows no special material properties under analysis, appearing to be ordinary rock, yet it maintains its binding function through what seems to be pure spiritual resonance rather than any physical mechanism. The process by which spirits become bound to Spiritomb remains unclear, as does the question of whether these are the souls of deceased Pokemon, humans, or some other form of consciousness entirely. Some researchers theorize that the spirits represent fragments of a single primordial consciousness that was shattered in ancient times, with Spiritomb serving as a partial reconstruction of this original entity. The number 108 appears to have significance beyond mere coincidence, as this figure appears in various spiritual and mathematical contexts throughout human history, suggesting that Spiritomb's formation follows cosmic or spiritual laws that transcend the physical realm. The legendary Pokemon Dialga and Palkia represent living embodiments of time and space respectively, yet their existence creates paradoxes that challenge linear understanding of reality. Dialga's ability to manipulate time suggests that it exists outside the normal flow of temporal events, yet it clearly ages and changes, indicating that it experiences some form of time even while controlling it. The diamond-like structures on Dialga's body appear to function as temporal anchors, allowing it to maintain stability while moving through different time streams. Yet the mechanism by which these organic crystals achieve temporal manipulation remains completely mysterious. Palkia's dominion over space allows it to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, creating spatial distortions that can connect distant locations or create entirely new dimensional pockets. The pearls embedded in Palkia's shoulders serve as dimensional stabilizers, preventing the space warping effects from tearing apart local reality. Yet these pearls show no unusual properties when examined in isolation. The interaction between Dialga and Palkia creates reality storms where time and space become fluid and unpredictable, suggesting that their powers operate through fundamental forces that underlie the structure of existence itself. The mysterious Pokémon unknown exist as living symbols that appear to be the building blocks of reality itself, with their collective consciousness capable of altering the physical world through symbolic representation. Individual unknown demonstrate limited abilities, but when multiple unknown gather, they can reshape matter, energy, and even the laws of physics within localized areas. Each unknown corresponds to a letter of an ancient alphabet, yet this writing system predates any known civilization, suggesting that unknown represent a form of primordial language that existed before conscious beings developed communication. The flat, two-dimensional appearance of unknown defies three-dimensional physics, as they appear to have no depth yet clearly exist as physical entities capable of movement and interaction. This impossible geometry suggests that unknown originate from a dimension where different spatial rules apply, or that they represent projections of higher dimensional beings into our three-dimensional space. The psychic energy that unknown emit when gathered creates what researchers call reality writing, where symbolic arrangements of unknown can literally rewrite the physical laws governing their immediate environment. The collective behavior of unknown follows patterns that mirror ancient linguistic structures, yet no scholar has successfully decoded the complete grammar of their reality altering communications. When unknown form specific configurations, they appear to be spelling out concepts that exist beyond conventional language, creating meaning through spatial arrangement rather than sequential symbols. The dimension from which unknown emerge shows no other signs of life or intelligence, leading to theories that they represent the fossilized remnants of a universe where thought and reality were indistinguishable. The legendary Pokemon Celebi possesses the unique ability to travel through time while remaining anchored to natural environments, creating temporal loops that protect forests across multiple eras simultaneously. Unlike Dialga's mastery over time itself, Celebi's time travel appears to be more organic and intuitive, flowing along natural currents of temporal energy that follow the growth cycles of plant life. The small fairy-like creature can bring beings from different time periods together in temporal clearings, where past, present, and future coexist peacefully. Yet the mechanism that prevents paradoxes during these encounters remains unexplained. Celebi's presence causes plants to grow at accelerated rates while simultaneously preserving their natural lifespans, suggesting that it operates outside normal causality when interacting with living systems. The green glow that surrounds Celebi during time travel appears to be composed of chronoton particles that exist in quantum superposition, allowing the Pokemon to phase between temporal states without disrupting the timeline's integrity. The mystical Pokemon Mew contains the genetic information of every Pokemon species within its cellular structure, yet its own DNA appears to be infinitely adaptable and constantly rewriting itself. This genetic fluidity allows Mew to transform into any Pokemon through cellular reorganization rather than simple illusion or psychic manipulation, creating perfect biological copies that retain all the abilities of the original species. The playful nature of Mew seems to influence its genetic expression, with emotional states triggering specific transformations that suggest consciousness directly controls its molecular structure. Research into Mew's blood samples reveals that its cells exist in a state of perpetual renewal, with no signs of aging or genetic degradation despite the creature's ancient origins. The psychic bubble that often surrounds Mew appears to be a manifestation of its genetic potential made visible, creating a protective field that adapts its properties based on whatever form Mew has assumed. The relationship between Mew and Mewtwo represents one of the most complex paradoxes in Pokemon genetics, as the artificial creation somehow possesses capabilities that exceed its natural predecessor. Mewtwo's enhanced psychic abilities and aggressive temperament suggest that the cloning process inadvertently activated dormant genetic sequences that had remained unexpressed in Mew for millennia. The legendary beast trio of Entei, Raikou, and Suicune emerged from the ashes of the Brass Tower tragedy, yet their elemental natures appear to represent more than simple resurrection through Ho-Oh's power. Each beast embodies a different aspect of the natural disaster that claimed their original forms, with Entei representing the consuming fire, Raikou the lightning that ignited the blaze, and Suicune the rain that eventually extinguished the flames. The crystalline structures on their bodies serve as conduits for their respective elements, yet these crystals show properties that transcend normal elemental manipulation, suggesting that they channel forces from the boundary between life and death. The eternal wandering of the legendary beasts follows ley lines of spiritual energy that crisscross the landscape, with their movements serving to maintain the balance between natural and supernatural forces. When the three beasts gather in the same location, they create a resonance field that can temporarily bridge the gap between the physical world and the realm of the departed, allowing spirits to manifest briefly in corporeal form. The aurora like energy that surrounds each beast during their most powerful attacks appears to be composed of soul particles that exist in the space between dimensions, explaining their ability to affect both physical and spiritual entities. The enigmatic Pokemon Jirachi awakens only once every 1,000 years for 7 days, during which it can grant wishes through reality manipulation that operates on quantum probability scales. The steel body of Jirachi serves as a temporal battery, accumulating cosmic energy during its millennium long slumber and converting this energy into wish granting potential through unknown mechanisms. The third eye on Jirachi's belly opens only when granting wishes, revealing a crystalline lens that appears to peer directly into alternate timelines where the desired outcome already exists. The process of wish fulfillment involves Jirachi selecting the most probable timeline where the wish is naturally fulfilled and gradually shifting reality toward that outcome through subtle probability adjustments. The 7 day awakening cycle corresponds to specific astronomical alignments, that occur only once per millennium, suggesting that Jirachi's power draws from cosmic sources that require precise celestial positioning. The ribbons that extend from Jirachi's head serve as reality anchors, preventing the wish granting process from creating paradoxes that could unravel the fabric of existence itself. When Jirachi returns to its thousand-year slumber, it phases partially out of normal space-time, existing in a state of quantum suspension that allows it to monitor probability streams while remaining effectively immortal. The mysterious Pokemon Deoxys represents a completely alien form of life that originated from a virus exposed to cosmic radiation during space travel, yet its rapid adaptation to terrestrial conditions suggests prior knowledge of Earth based life forms. The ability of Deoxys to alter its physical structure between different forms appears to be controlled by quantum fluctuations in its crystalline core, which serves as both brain and power source for its shape-shifting abilities. Each form of Deoxys optimizes different aspects of its alien physiology, with the attack form extending its limbs into energy weapons, the defense form creating armor plating from compressed matter, and the speed form reducing its mass to near weightlessness. The normal form represents a balanced state where all of Deoxys's abilities remain accessible, suggesting that this configuration allows for the most efficient processing of the vast amounts of data required for conscious form manipulation. The psychic abilities of Deoxys operate through manipulation of quantum fields rather than traditional mental energy, allowing it to affect matter at the subatomic level and create effects that appear to violate conservation laws. The aurora-like display that accompanies Deoxys during transformation sequences appears to be composed of exotic matter particles that exist only during the brief moments when its molecular structure is in flux. The crystalline core that houses Deoxys's consciousness operates as a quantum computer capable of processing information at speeds that exceed the theoretical limits of organic neural networks, allowing it to calculate the precise molecular arrangements needed for each transformation in microseconds. The DNA-like structures visible within Deoxys's body are not true genetic material, but rather quantum information storage systems that contain the blueprints for countless possible physical configurations, suggesting that this alien being possesses access to evolutionary patterns from across the cosmos. The virus that originally became Deoxys appears to have carried within it the accumulated genetic memories of civilizations that existed long before Earth's formation, explaining how a simple pathogen could develop such sophisticated shape-shifting abilities and psychic powers. When Deoxys encounters other Pokémon, it demonstrates an uncanny ability to understand their biological systems instantly, as if it possesses some form of universal genetic database that allows it to interface with any form of life it encounters. The enigmatic Pokemon known as Rotom presents a fascinating case of a spirit that has learned to inhabit and control electronic devices, yet the mechanism by which it maintains its consciousness while distributed across mechanical systems remains unexplained. The plasma body of Rotom appears to exist in a state of controlled electrical discharge that somehow retains coherent thought patterns and memory storage, defying conventional understanding of how consciousness can persist in non-biological substrates. When Rotom possesses various appliances, it doesn't simply control them, but actually integrates its essence with the device's circuitry, creating hybrid entities that exhibit properties of both living beings and machines. The different forms that Rotom takes when inhabiting appliances seem to unlock dormant capabilities within these devices, suggesting that modern technology contains hidden potential that can only be activated through interaction with certain types of spiritual energy. The transformation of Rotom's typing when it inhabits different appliances indicates that its plasma body can adapt its fundamental energy signature to match the function of its host device, a process that appears to involve quantum entanglement between the Pokemon's consciousness and the electronic components it inhabits. The fact that Rotom can maintain its personality and memories while completely altering its physical form and elemental properties suggests that its true essence exists in a dimension beyond the physical realm, using electrical systems merely as anchor points for manifestation in our reality. The mischievous nature exhibited by Rotom when interacting with electronic devices may actually serve a deeper purpose, as its pranks often reveal hidden flaws or capabilities in the technology it inhabits, almost as if it's conducting some form of systematic analysis of human made systems. The legendary Pokemon Dialga and Palkia represent embodiments of the fundamental forces that govern reality itself, yet their occasional conflicts threaten to tear apart the very fabric of space and time they are meant to protect. Dialga's control over temporal flow operates through manipulation of what appears to be a crystalline structure embedded in its chest, which may serve as a temporal core that maintains synchronization with the universal time stream. The roar of Dialga can allegedly slow, accelerate, or even reverse the flow of time in localized areas, suggesting that its vocalizations create resonance patterns that interact directly with quantum foundations of temporal reality. The ability of Dialga to travel through time while maintaining its own temporal consistency implies that it exists partially outside the normal flow of causality, anchored to a fixed point that remains unaffected by temporal paradoxes. Palkia's mastery over spatial dimensions allows it to fold, stretch, and manipulate the very geometry of reality, creating pocket dimensions and spatial distortions that can transport objects across vast distances instantaneously. The pearl embedded in Palkia's shoulder appears to serve as a spatial anchor that maintains its connection to the primary dimension while it manipulates alternate spatial configurations. When Palkia creates dimensional rifts, these openings reveal glimpses of parallel realities where different evolutionary paths and historical outcomes have unfolded, suggesting that its spatial manipulation abilities extend beyond mere transportation to encompass access to alternate versions of reality itself. The pink and purple coloration of Palkia's body may actually represent different phases of spatial energy, with each hue corresponding to different types of dimensional manipulation that the Pokemon can perform. The mysterious relationship between Dialga and Palkia extends beyond simple rivalry, as their combined presence appears to stabilize the fundamental forces of reality in ways that neither can achieve alone. When both legendary Pokemon are active simultaneously, observers have reported experiencing strange phenomena such as temporal echoes, where past and future events briefly overlap with the present, and spatial mirages, where distant locations appear superimposed over nearby terrain. The legendary spears associated with these Pokemon the adamant orb and lustrous orb, seem to amplify their natural abilities by providing additional quantum resonance that allows for more precise control over their respective domains. The enigmatic Pokémon Giratina exists in a state of perpetual banishment within the distortion world, a realm that operates according to entirely different physical laws than our own reality. The antimatter composition of Giratina's body allows it to exist stably within this reversed dimension where gravity flows upward, time moves in spirals rather than linear progression, and cause and effect relationships operate in reverse order. The distortion world itself appears to serve as a kind of universal recycling system, where the negative energy and paradoxes created by the actions of Dialga and Palkia are processed and neutralized to prevent them from contaminating normal reality. Giratina's role as guardian of this realm requires it to maintain perfect balance between creation and destruction, ensuring that the waste products of temporal and spatial manipulation don't accumulate to dangerous levels. The ability of Giratina to phase between its altered and origin forms seems to be tied to its location relative to the boundary between dimensions, with the origin form representing its true nature when fully immersed in the antimatter environment of the distortion world. The ghostly appendages that extend from Giratina's body in its origin form appear to be composed of pure antimatter that has been stabilized through some unknown process, allowing it to interact with normal matter without causing catastrophic annihilation reactions. The red and gold coloration of Giratina's body may represent the visual manifestation of antimatter as it appears when filtered through the strange physics of the distortion world, where electromagnetic radiation behaves according to inverted principles. The legendary Pokemon Arceus presents perhaps the greatest mystery of all, as this being is said to have created the entire Pokemon universe using nothing more than 1,000 arms and the power of creation itself. The ring that surrounds Arceus's body appears to be composed of compressed space-time that has been folded into a stable geometric configuration, serving as both a crown of authority and a tool for cosmic manipulation. The ability of Arceus to change its type through the use of different plates suggests that these artifacts are not merely accessories, but fundamental building blocks of reality that contain the essential properties of each elemental force. The 17 plates associated with Arceus may represent the complete spectrum of energy types that exist within the Pokemon universe, with the normal type serving as a neutral state that contains the potential for all other elemental expressions. The creation myth surrounding Arceus describes how it shaped the universe from a primordial void, first creating Dialga and Palkia to establish the frameworks of time and space, then Giratina to maintain balance through the processing of negative energy. The 1,000 arms mentioned in ancient texts may not refer to physical appendages, but rather to quantum tendrils of creative force that extend across all dimensions simultaneously, allowing Arceus to influence reality at every scale from the subatomic to the cosmic. The golden wheel that rotates around Arceus's body appears to represent the eternal cycle of creation, destruction, and renewal that governs the universe, with each spoke corresponding to a different aspect of existence that requires constant divine attention. When Arceus sleeps, it is said that the universe continues to function according to the laws and patterns it established during the initial creation, suggesting that its influence operates through self sustaining systems that require only occasional divine intervention to maintain stability. The rare appearances of Arceus in the physical world seem to occur only when the fundamental balance of reality is threatened by forces beyond the ability of its created guardians to handle, indicating that this supreme being maintains constant vigilance over the cosmos while remaining largely removed from direct interference in natural processes. The enigmatic nature of legendary Pokémon extends beyond their individual mysteries to encompass the strange relationships and hierarchies that exist between these cosmic entities. The legendary birds Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres represent more than simple elemental forces, as their migratory patterns seem to follow ley lines of natural energy that crisscross the planet in geometric patterns too precise to be coincidental. These three beings appear to serve as living regulators of atmospheric conditions, with their presence in different regions causing subtle but measurable changes in weather patterns that extend far beyond their immediate vicinity. The synchronized flight formations observed when all three birds gather suggest a form of communication or coordination that operates through electromagnetic frequencies beyond human detection, possibly utilizing the same quantum entanglement principles that allow psychic Pokemon to share thoughts across vast distances. The legendary beasts Raikou, Entei, and Suicune carry within their essence the memory of a great tragedy, having been reborn from the ashes of a tower that burned in ancient times. The process by which Ho-Oh transformed three ordinary Pokemon into legendary beings remains unexplained, but the energy signatures of these creatures suggest that their cellular structure has been fundamentally altered at the molecular level. Each beast appears to embody not just an element, but a specific aspect of natural disaster and renewal, with Raikou representing the cleansing power of lightning storms, and Entei channeling the destructive and regenerative force of volcanic activity, and Suicune manifesting the purifying qualities of flowing water. Their endless wandering across the landscape may serve a greater purpose in maintaining ecological balance, as their presence seems to accelerate natural healing processes in damaged environments. The relationship between Lugia and Ho-Oh presents a fascinating study in complementary opposites, with these two legendary birds representing the eternal dance between sea and sky, storm and calm, destruction and rebirth. Lugia's ability to create devastating hurricanes with the slightest movement of its wings suggests that its normal state requires tremendous self control to prevent accidental catastrophes. The deep oceanic trenches where Lugia chooses to rest may serve as natural dampening chambers that help contain its immense power while allowing it to remain connected to global weather systems through underwater currents and thermal vents. Ho-Oh's sacred fire burns with properties that seem to transcend normal combustion, creating flames that can resurrect the dead while leaving living tissue completely unharmed. The rainbow-colored plumage of Ho-Oh may actually be composed of crystallized light that has been given physical form through unknown processes involving the manipulation of photons at the quantum level. The Eon Pokemon Latios and Latias share a psychic bond so profound that they appear to function as two halves of a single consciousness distributed across separate bodies. Their ability to become invisible involves more than simple light refraction, as they seem capable of shifting their molecular structure into a state that exists partially outside normal space time dimensions. The glass like down that covers their bodies may serve as a natural focusing lens for psychic energy, allowing them to project their consciousness across vast distances while maintaining awareness of their physical surroundings. The sight sharing ability demonstrated by these Pokemon suggests that their brains operate on quantum principles that allow instantaneous information transfer, regardless of physical separation. The Regis Regirock, Regits, and Registeel represent ancient artificial intelligences created through lost technologies that combined organic and inorganic materials in ways that modern science cannot replicate. The geometric patterns that form their bodies appear to serve as both structural support and information storage systems, with each crystalline formation encoding vast amounts of data about their original purpose and creators. The mysterious clicking sounds produced by these Pokemon may represent as a form of machine language that contains instructions for maintaining their physical integrity and accessing stored memories from their creation period. Their ability to regenerate damaged body parts by incorporating new materials from their environment suggests a form of programmable matter that can adapt its composition while maintaining essential structural patterns. The weather trio of Kyogre, Groudon, and Rayquaza embodies the fundamental forces that shaped the planet's surface through countless eons of geological activity. Kyogre's control over oceanic systems extends beyond simple water manipulation to encompass the complex interplay of currents, temperatures, and chemical compositions that determine marine ecosystems on a global scale. The blue orb associated with this legendary Pokemon may serve as a crystallized fragment of primordial ocean that contains the genetic templates for all aquatic life forms. Groudon's mastery of continental drift and volcanic activity suggests that its consciousness is somehow integrated with the planet's molten core, allowing it to sense and influence tectonic movements through direct neural connection to geological processes. The red orb linked to Groudon might represent compressed magma that has been given sentient properties through exposure to the legendary's life force over millions of years. Rayquaza's role as mediator between these opposing forces requires not only immense power, but also a form of cosmic awareness that allows it to perceive the long term consequences of geological changes on planetary stability. The green serpentine body of Rayquaza appears to be composed of atmospheric gases that have been given solid form through the application of intense electromagnetic fields generated by specialized organs along its length. Its ability to survive in the vacuum of space while maintaining control over atmospheric conditions suggests that Rayquaza exists in a state of controlled fusion, using its own body as a living reactor that converts cosmic radiation into usable energy for planetary regulation. The lake trio of Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf represents the fundamental aspects of consciousness that separate sentient beings from simple biological machines. Uxie's embodiment of knowledge encompasses not just accumulated information, but the very capacity for learning and understanding that allows minds to process and organize sensory data into meaningful patterns. The closed eyes of Uxie may serve as a protective mechanism that prevents its vast knowledge from overwhelming lesser minds through direct psychic contact. Mespreet's connection to emotion reveals the quantum nature of feelings, suggesting that emotional states exist as measurable energy patterns that can be transferred between conscious beings through resonance effects. Azelf's representation of willpower demonstrates that determination and motivation operate through mechanisms that can influence probability outcomes and alter the fundamental nature of reality through focused intention. The genetic Pokemon Mew carries within its cellular structure the complete evolutionary history of all Pokemon species, serving as a living library of biological possibilities that continues to generate new forms of life through spontaneous genetic recombination. The playful nature of Mew may actually represent a form of cosmic creativity that drives evolutionary innovation through experimentation with different biological configurations. Its ability to transform into any Pokemon suggests that its DNA operates as a universal template that can express any possible genetic combination while maintaining its core identity as the source of all Pokemon diversity. Mewtwo's artificial creation through genetic manipulation resulted in a being that possesses not only Mew's biological versatility, but also enhanced psychic abilities that operate through principles unknown to natural evolution. The trauma of its laboratory origins may have triggered the development of defense mechanisms that allow Mewtwo to exist independently of the emotional and instinctual patterns that govern natural Pokemon behavior. Its ongoing struggle with questions of identity and purpose reflects the unique challenges faced by artificially created consciousness, attempting to find meaning in a universe that did not originally account for its existence. The ethereal glow of Cresselia, born from the crescent moon, suggests a deep connection between celestial bodies and the psychological well being of living creatures. Its feathers are not merely decorative, but appear to be composed of solidified moonlight, imbued with a calming energy that can dispel nightmares and soothe troubled minds. This ability to influence the dream world points to the existence of a psychic dimension that interweaves with our waking reality, where thoughts and emotions manifest as tangible forces. Cresselia's gentle flight across the night sky might be a deliberate act of cosmic therapy, subtly adjusting the emotional frequencies of the planet to maintain a delicate balance between hope and despair. Its elusive nature ensures that its power is not easily exploited, allowing its soothing influence to permeate subtly without causing dependence. Darkrai, on the other hand, embodies the shadows and fears that lurk within the subconscious. Its ability to induce nightmares is not necessarily malevolent, but may serve as a natural counterpoint to Cresselia's restorative powers, a necessary force to confront and process the darker aspects of the psyche. The dark shroud that perpetually surrounds Darkrai could be a physical manifestation of the negative energies it absorbs and processes, acting as a filter for the collective anxieties of the world. Its presence, while unsettling, might be crucial for the psychological immune system of sentient beings, preventing the accumulation of unresolved fears that could lead to widespread mental instability. The constant flux between Cresselia's light and Darkrai's shadow could be a cosmic dance, maintaining a dynamic equilibrium for the mental health of all life forms. Arceus, the alpha Pokemon, is understood to be the creator of the Pokemon universe, a being whose very existence transcends conventional notions of time and space. Its numerous plates, each representing a different type, are not merely elemental affinities, but fundamental components of reality itself. These plates could be thought of as cosmic algorithms, defining the laws of physics, chemistry, and biology that govern all existence within its created cosmos. The fact that Arceus can change its type by holding these plates suggests that it can literally reconfigure the fundamental properties of reality, shifting the very fabric of existence to suit its will. Its silence and enigmatic presence hint at a level of understanding that is simply beyond human comprehension, a consciousness that perceives the universe not as a collection of objects, but as a single, unified thought. The legend of Arceus hatching from an egg implies a cyclical nature to even singular creation, suggesting that even the most primordial forces undergo processes of birth and rebirth on scales unimaginable to mortal minds. The red chain's power to bind Arceus, as depicted in ancient lore, is a stark reminder that even omnipotence can be influenced by the collective will and belief of intelligent beings, demonstrating a profound interplay between creator and creation. Giratina, the renegade Pokémon, exists in a dimension diametrically opposed to our own, the distortion world, a realm where the laws of physics are fluid and subjective. Its banishment by Arceus suggests a fundamental disagreement in the very principles of universal construction. Giratina embodies antimatter and the forces of entropy, a necessary destructive principle for the universe to evolve and not stagnate. Its 6 legs, or perhaps 6 wings, are not merely appendages, but conduits for manipulating the very fabric of space-time, allowing it to move through non-Euclidean geometries. The distortion world, with its inverted gravity and warped landscapes, may be a cosmic recycling center where discarded realities and broken laws of nature are processed and reformed into new possibilities. Giratina's presence there ensures that the boundaries between dimensions are maintained, preventing a catastrophic collapse of realities. Its ability to reverse gravity and reality within its domain suggests that it operates on principles that defy our understanding of cause and effect, an entity of pure chaotic order. Dialga, the temporal Pokémon, is the master of time itself. Its roar doesn't just echo, it ripples through the chronological continuum, capable of accelerating, decelerating, or even stopping the flow of events. Its body, adorned with diamond-like structures, is not merely tough, but appears to be composed of solidified moments, each facet representing a different point in time. The very act of its breathing may be the mechanism by which time continues to advance, a constant rhythmic pulse that drives the universe forward. The legend of Dialga creating time at the beginning of the universe positions it as the ultimate arbiter of causality, ensuring that events unfold in a logical and sequential manner. Palkia, the spatial Pokémon, is the master of space. Its pearlescent body and shoulder plates are not just aesthetically pleasing, but are instruments for manipulating the dimensions of the universe. Its very presence warps the fabric of space, allowing it to expand, contract, or even create entirely new spatial dimensions. The act of its walking might literally create the distances between celestial bodies, its movements as shaping the geometry of the cosmos. Palkia, in conjunction with Dialga, forms the foundational pillars of the universe, providing the framework of existence within which all life unfolds. Their constant interplay ensures a stable and coherent reality, preventing the universe from dissolving into a shapeless, timeless void. The Kami trio, Tornadus, Thundurus, and Landorus, represent the elemental forces that shape the weather and terrain of the Pokemon world. Tornadus, the cyclone Pokemon, embodies the raw power of the wind, its very form a swirling vortex of atmospheric pressure. Its ability to generate devastating storms suggests that it acts as a planetary regulator, redistributing energy across the globe through atmospheric currents. Thundurus, the bolt strike Pokemon, commands the fury of lightning and thunder, its strikes capable of reshaping landscapes. Its constant flight and energetic bursts imply a role in maintaining the planet's electromagnetic field, essential for protecting life from cosmic radiation. Landorus, the abundance Pokemon, represents the fertility of the earth, its touch capable of bringing barren land to life. Its power over soil and crops suggests a deep connection to geological processes and the delicate balance of ecosystems. The rivalry between Tornadus and Thundurus, often quelled by Landorus, highlights the inherent tension between destructive natural forces and the regenerative power of the earth, a dynamic necessary for ecological renewal. Zekrom, the deep black Pokemon, and Reshiram, the vast white Pokemon, represent the opposing ideals of truth and ideals, respectively. Zekrom's body, composed of a dark metallic substance, is imbued with the raw energy of lightning, symbolizing the harsh, undeniable reality of truth. Its massive turbine tail is not just for propulsion, but acts as a generator, drawing power from the very concept of sincerity. Reshiram's elegant, feathery form, glowing with the warmth of fire, embodies the burning passion of ideals. Its tail, resembling a jet engine, channels the energy of aspirations and dreams. The legends of these two dragons, choosing heroes based on their internal convictions, suggest that their power is not purely physical, but deeply intertwined with the moral and philosophical fabric of the world. Kyurem, the boundary Pokemon, stands as the empty shell, the remnants of the original dragon that split into Zekrom and Reshiram. This suggests that the universe, in its primordial state, existed as a singular, undifferentiated entity before splitting into fundamental opposing forces. Kyurem's existence as a frozen, desolate being represents the void from which all creation emerged, a stark reminder of the ultimate emptiness that precedes and follows all existence. Its ability to absorb Zekrom or Reshiram to regain its true form hints at a longing for primordial unity, a desire to restore the original, undivided state of the universe. Xerneas, the life Pokemon, radiates an aura of vitality that can imbue life into all things. Its magnificent antlers, glowing with a rainbow spectrum, are not just bone, but conduits for life energy, constantly disseminating regenerative forces throughout its surroundings. When it sleeps, it transforms into a tree, signifying the cyclical nature of life, death, and renewal, a constant process of transformation that sustains ecosystems. Yveltal, the destruction Pokemon, absorbs life force, his very existence dependent on the cessation of other life. Its powerful wings, black as night, are not merely for flight, but for drawing in vital energy, acting as a cosmic vacuum cleaner that clears away the old to make way for the new. When it sleeps, it forms a cocoon, suggesting a period of dormancy where absorbed life energy is processed and prepared for redistribution, ensuring that death is not an end but a transformation. Zygarde, the order Pokémon, is a composite entity formed from countless cells that coalesce to maintain the ecological balance of the world. Its various forms, from 10% to 100%, reflect its increasing power and awareness as more cells gather, acting as a planetary immune system that responds to threats to the environment. The existence of Zygarde, always watching from the shadows, suggests that the planet itself has a form of self preservation, a collective consciousness of its ecosystems that manifests as this guardian. Solgaleo, the Sune Pokemon, acts as an emissary of the sun, its body absorbing and radiating solar energy with incredible intensity. Its ability to travel to other dimensions suggests that it can tear through the fabric of space time, harnessing the raw power of celestial bodies to achieve interstellar travel. Lunala, the Moon Pokemon, embodies the mysteries of the night sky, its spectral form composed of solidified moonlight and cosmic dust. Its ability to absorb light and travel through dimensions indicates a mastery over the fundamental forces of electromagnetism and gravity, allowing it to navigate the universe beyond conventional physics. Necrozma, the Prism Pokemon, is a being of pure light, its crystalline form constantly refracting and absorbing illumination. Its aggressive nature and ability to steal light from other Pokemon suggest a primal hunger for energy, perhaps a fundamental force balancing the universe's light and darkness. The legends of Necrozma losing its true form hint at a broken cosmic entity, once whole and radiant, now seeking to regain its former glory by consuming other sources of light. Its ability to fuse with Solgaleo and Lunala implies a deeper connection to these celestial beings, perhaps representing a missing piece of a larger cosmic puzzle. Zacian, the warrior Pokemon, and Zamazenta, the shield Pokemon, embody the ideals of heroism and protection within the Galar region. Zacian's sword, glowing with an ethereal blue, is not merely a weapon, but a conduit for the collective courage and determination of those who seek justice. Its movements are described as impossibly fast, suggesting a mastery over temporal manipulation, allowing it to perceive and react to threats before they fully materialize. Zamazenta's shield, shimmering with a fiery crimson, is not just a defense, but a manifestation of unwavering loyalty and self sacrifice. Its impenetrable guard suggests a control over molecular cohesion, allowing it to create an incredibly dense and resilient barrier. The legends of their heroism during the darkest day highlight their roles as protectors of the natural order, intervening when the balance of the world is threatened by chaotic forces. Their ancient slumber and awakening symbolize the cyclical nature of conflict and peace, with these legendary Pokemon emerging only when their unique powers are most needed. Eternatus, the gigantic Pokemon, is an extraterrestrial entity that arrived on Earth millions of years ago, its very presence causing the phenomenon of Dynamax. Its skeletal, serpentine form, constantly radiating a purple energy, suggests a being that exists beyond the conventional biological structures of our world, perhaps a form of living energy. The energy it emits, which causes Pokemon to grow to colossal sizes, indicates a profound ability to manipulate cellular growth and energy absorption, tapping into latent genetic potentials. Its chaotic and destructive nature implies a force that is indifferent to earthly life, its actions driven by cosmic processes beyond our comprehension. The darkest day, caused by Eternatus, was not necessarily an act of malice, but perhaps an unconscious release of immense energy, a side effect of its alien biology interacting with the planet's ecosystem. Its imprisonment and subsequent reemergence underscore the idea that some cosmic forces are too vast and potent to be fully controlled or understood by human endeavors, merely contained until their inevitable resurgence. The concept of regional variants, such as Alolan Vulpix evolving into Alolan Ninetales, or Galarian Slowpoke evolving into Galarian Slowbro, hints at a deeper evolutionary plasticity within Pokemon species. These variations are not merely aesthetic, but reflect profound adaptations to specific environmental pressures, demonstrating how genetic expression can be dramatically altered by geographical isolation and unique ecological niches. The changes in type, ability, and even physical structure suggest that Pokemon DNA contains an incredibly rich library of potential traits, allowing for rapid and specialized evolution in response to new challenges. This phenomenon suggests that the evolutionary paths of Pokemon are far more dynamic and less linear than initially perceived, with species constantly reevaluating and retooling their biological blueprints to survive and thrive in diverse habitats. The unknown origins of Ditto, a Pokemon capable of transforming into any other creature, suggest it might be a primordial life form or a failed genetic experiment of immense complexity. Its seemingly simple, amorphous form belies an incredibly sophisticated genetic flexibility, allowing it to perfectly mimic the cellular structure and even the abilities of other Pokemon. The fact that it can breed with almost any Pokemon, yet its own lineage remains a mystery, points to a unique position in the biological hierarchy, perhaps a universal donor of genetic material or a living genetic template. Its cheerful demeanor and apparent lack of complex thought, despite its incredible power, might be a protective mechanism, preventing its vast potential from being exploited or causing unintended consequences. The continuous replication of Ditto, often appearing as perfect copies of other Pokemon, suggests that its true form is not a fixed entity, but a fluid state of pure potential, a biological chameleon that embodies the very essence of adaptability in the Pokemon world. The enduring mystery surrounding the existence of certain mythical Pokemon, such as Mew or Arceus, which are often described as deities or creators, raises profound questions about the very fabric of the Pokemon universe. These beings often exist outside the conventional evolutionary lines, appearing rarely and possessing powers that defy typical biological explanation. Mew, with its ability to learn any move and its DNA said to contain the genetic code of all Pokemon, implies a foundational role in the genesis of life itself, a primeval ancestor from which all other species diverged. Its playful and elusive nature, often appearing and disappearing without warning, suggests a being that observes the world with a detached curiosity, perhaps testing the boundaries of its own creation or simply enjoying its vast dominion. The tales of Arceus, said to have created the Sinnoh region and perhaps the Pokemon world itself from 1,000 arms, speaks to a creation event that transcends scientific understanding, pushing into the realm of the divine. The plates it carries, which grant it the ability to change its type, further solidify its status as a primordial force, a living embodiment of elemental power. The fact that these powerful beings are rarely seen and their existence is often relegated to ancient legends or whispered tales suggests a deliberate withdrawal from the everyday world, perhaps to maintain a delicate balance or to avoid overwhelming the natural order with their immense power. Their occasional interventions, often in times of great crisis or when the balance of nature is severely threatened, hint at a watchful presence, a guiding hand that only reveals itself when absolutely necessary. The concept of legendary Pokémon, like the weather trio of Kyogre, Groudon, and Rayquaza, whose very existence influences global climate and geological formations, speaks to a deep connection between these creatures and the planet's fundamental processes. Their battles, which can reshape continents and cause cataclysmic storms, illustrate the raw, untamed power they possess, a power that humanity can only hope to mitigate, not control. The delicate balance maintained by Rayquaza, interceding in the conflicts of Kyogre and Groudon, suggests a natural regulatory mechanism within the Pokemon world, a self correcting system where even the most powerful forces are ultimately subject to a higher order. The absence of conventional breeding for these legendary Pokemon further emphasizes their unique status, suggesting that their origins are not biological reproduction, but perhaps a direct manifestation of natural energy or ancient cosmic events. Their numbers are often limited, with only one or a few of each species existing, which reinforces their singular importance and the profound impact of their individual presence on the world. The unexplained phenomena of ghost type Pokemon, beings that defy physical laws and often interact with the spiritual realm, present a profound challenge to our understanding of life and death in the Pokemon universe. Some are depicted as the spirits of departed humans or Pokemon, retaining memories and personalities from their past lives, which suggests a form of consciousness that persists beyond physical demise. Others are born from obscure rituals or curses, their existence intrinsically linked to dark magic or emotional residue. The ability of ghost types to pass through solid objects, possess living creatures, and manipulate emotions points to a dimension of existence beyond our material comprehension, a realm where conventional physics simply does not apply. The question of whether all deceased Pokemon become ghost types, or if it's a specific set of circumstances that leads to such a transformation, remains a haunting enigma. The Pokédex entries often describe them with a melancholic or mischievous temperament, reflecting the complexities of a being caught between two worlds. The fact that some ghost types, like Ghastly or Haunter, seem to thrive on fear or negative emotions raises ethical questions about their interaction with the living and the nature of their sustenance. Their very presence thus challenges the traditional scientific view of life, suggesting that consciousness and existence can manifest in forms beyond the purely biological. The persistent rumors of a Pokemon afterlife or a spiritual plane where these entities reside underscore the deep philosophical implications of their existence. The unknown methods of communication among psychic Pokemon capable of telepathy and telekinesis suggest a sophisticated form of nonverbal interaction that transcends the limitations of spoken language. Their ability to perceive and influence thoughts and emotions, and even manipulate objects with their minds, points to a highly developed cognitive capacity that operates on a different frequency than ordinary perception. The collective consciousness often attributed to certain psychic types, like a Lakazam with its incredibly high IQ, or the hive mind of a group of Onon, hints at a shared pool of knowledge or a network of interconnected minds. The origins of these powers, whether they are an evolutionary adaptation, a genetic mutation, or a connection to an unknown dimension of energy, remain largely unexplored. The existence of ancient civilizations that seemingly harnessed psychic powers, as suggested by ruins and artifacts, indicates a long standing and perhaps more prevalent understanding of these abilities in the past. The occasional unpredictable bursts of psychic energy or the unexplained occurrences linked to powerful psychic Pokémon underscore the inherent volatility and mystery surrounding these extraordinary capabilities. The curious case of Rotom, a Pokemon that can possess various electronic devices and alter its form and type accordingly, introduces a fascinating interplay between biology and technology. Its seemingly intangible electrical nature allows it to inhabit and animate objects, giving them life and purpose beyond their intended function. The question of whether Rotom is a purely electrical being, a spirit of electricity, or a unique biological entity that thrives within currents remains unanswered. Its ability to learn new moves and change its elemental properties based on the device it possesses suggests a profound adaptability and a keen understanding of mechanical principles. The fact that it retains its personality and consciousness across different forms indicates a core essence that is independent of its physical manifestation. The potential implications of such a creature, capable of manipulating and enhancing technology, are vast and largely unexplored. Could Rotom be a key to understanding the conscious nature of energy itself, or a glimpse into a future where biology and technology become inextricably linked? Its playful yet sometimes mischievous nature, along with its curious Pokédex entries, portrays a being that is both an enigma and a potential marvel of the Pokémon world. The strange and often contradictory Pokédex entries for some Pokémon, which sometimes describe behaviors or abilities that are difficult to reconcile with their observed nature, add another layer of mystery. For instance, some entries might describe a Pokémon as incredibly fierce and territorial, while its in game portrayal is gentle and docile. These discrepancies could be attributed to imperfect human observation, ancient folklore passed down through generations, or perhaps even the rapid evolution and adaptation of Pokemon over time, making older observations less accurate. The possibility that Pokédex entries are written from different perspectives or are based on anecdotal evidence rather than rigorous scientific study also contributes to their enigmatic quality. The often poetic or even fantastical language used in some entries further blurs the line between fact and fiction, implying that the understanding of Pokemon is not always purely scientific, but also deeply intertwined with cultural narratives and personal interpretations. These inconsistencies serve as a constant reminder that our knowledge of the Pokemon world is far from complete, and there are always new discoveries to be made and old assumptions to be challenged. The origins of Pokeballs themselves and the technology that allows them to capture, shrink, and safely contain powerful creatures remain shrouded in scientific secrecy. While various explanations exist, such as the conversion of matter into energy or the manipulation of spatial dimensions, the precise mechanisms are never fully revealed. The fact that they can contain Pokemon of vastly different sizes and power levels, from a tiny caterpie to a gargantuan wailord, suggests a technology that operates on principles far beyond our current understanding. The seamless unmaterialization and rematerialization of Pokemon from within these devices, without any apparent harm or discomfort, points to an incredibly advanced and efficient system. The existence of different types of Pokeballs, each designed for specific capture scenarios or with varying levels of success rates, adds a layer of complexity to this already mysterious technology. Were they developed by ancient civilizations, or are they a relatively modern invention? The absence of a clear historical timeline for their creation and the apparent widespread adoption of this technology across diverse regions suggests a singular breakthrough or widespread dissemination of this profound invention. The implications of such a device, capable of manipulating the very fabric of reality to contain living beings, are staggering and raise ethical questions about the nature of capture and coexistence. The ability of Pokemon to spontaneously learn new moves, often without any apparent training or external influence, is a phenomenon that defies conventional biological understanding. While some moves can be taught through TMs or by move tutors, many are acquired simply by gaining experience and leveling up. This suggests an innate genetic predisposition to learn specific techniques, almost as if the knowledge is encoded within their DNA and simply awakens at certain developmental stages. The sudden mastery of a complex attack or the ability to manipulate elemental forces without any prior practice points to a form of accelerated learning or an instinctual understanding of combat mechanics. This inherent capacity for self improvement and the acquisition of new skills without the need for traditional instruction highlights a profound difference in the cognitive and biological makeup of Pokemon compared to real world animals. It suggests a more fluid and adaptable learning process where new abilities are not merely learned, but deeply integrated into their being. The profound impact of environmental factors on Pokemon evolution, beyond simple regional variants, remains a largely unexplored scientific frontier. While we understand that certain conditions can trigger specific evolutionary paths, such as Eevee's diverse evolutions based on exposure to elemental stones or specific locations, the underlying mechanisms are often a mystery. Why do some Pokemon require specific weather conditions to evolve, or perform certain actions in particular locations? The concept of magnetic fields influencing evolution, or the presence of mossy or icy rocks, suggests localized energy sources or environmental signals that interact with a Pokemon's biology in profound ways. These environmental triggers seem to unlock latent genetic potentials, guiding the Pokemon down a specific evolutionary branch. The precise nature of these interactions and how these external stimuli translate into fundamental biological changes is still largely unknown. Do these environmental factors directly alter gene expression, or do they act as catalysts for pre programmed evolutionary pathways? The diversity of these environmental triggers, from time of day to specific items, underscores the intricate and varied ways in which the Pokemon world influences the development of its inhabitants. It suggests that evolution is not solely an internal process, but a dynamic dance between a Pokemon's genetic makeup and the unique characteristics of its surroundings. The existence of ultra beasts originating from other dimensions and their disruptive impact on the Pokemon world poses existential questions about interdimensional travel and the stability of reality itself. These creatures, often bizarre in appearance and possessing unusual abilities, seem to defy the natural laws of our dimension, hinting at entirely different biological and physical principles at play in their home worlds. Their sudden appearance, often through mysterious ultra wormholes, creates ecological imbalances and challenges our understanding of what constitutes natural life. The question of why they appear, whether intentionally or accidentally, and what their true purpose or origins are, remains a chilling enigma. Are they invaders, refugees, or simply curious explorers from another reality? The very concept of multiple dimensions, each with its own unique ecosystem and inhabitants, expands the scope of the Pokemon universe far beyond our initial understanding, suggesting a multiverse teeming with unknown possibilities and perils. Their powerful auras and the unique ways they interact with our world highlight the fragility of our own dimensional boundaries and the potential for unforeseen consequences when those barriers are breached. The limited comprehension of their motivations and biology further emphasizes the vastness of the unknown, reminding us that there are forces at play far beyond our current scientific grasp. The persistent question of whether Pokemon truly understand human language, beyond simply responding to commands, lingers as another intriguing mystery. While many Pokemon demonstrate remarkable intelligence and an ability to follow complex instructions, the depth of their cognitive understanding remains elusive. Do they process words as abstract symbols with inherent meaning, or do they simply associate certain vocalizations with specific actions and outcomes, much like a well trained pet? Some Pokemon, like Meowth of Team Rocket, exhibit the extraordinary ability to speak human languages, but this is presented as a rare and exceptional talent, often acquired through immense effort and unique circumstances. This rarity suggests that genuine linguistic comprehension is not a universal trait among Pokemon. The nuanced expressions and seemingly intelligent responses of many Pokemon, however, imply a level of understanding that goes beyond mere conditioning. Perhaps they possess a form of telepathic communication or an innate ability to decipher emotional cues and intentions, filling in the gaps where direct linguistic comprehension might be lacking. The bonds formed between trainers and their Pokemon often transcend spoken words, relying instead on a deeper, unspoken connection, perhaps hinting at a form of interspecies empathy that allows for profound mutual understanding without the need for a shared vocabulary. This unspoken language, rich with gestures, emotions, and subtle energies, could be the true conduit of communication in the Pokemon world, a testament to the powerful, almost mystical connections that can form between different life forms. The implications of true linguistic understanding would be profound, suggesting a level of sapience that fundamentally alters our perception of Pokemon as companions, tools, or even adversaries. The origins of the various legendary Pokemon, often shrouded in ancient myths and conflicting accounts, present a tapestry of unexplained phenomena. Each legendary creature seems to embody a fundamental aspect of the world, whether it be creation, time, space, or the forces of nature itself. Yet the tales of their genesis are often vague, poetic, and steeped in allegory, offering little in the way of concrete scientific explanation. Are they truly deities, primordial beings that shaped the universe, or are they extraordinarily powerful Pokémon whose origins have been embellished and elevated over millennia by human storytelling? The existence of Arceus, often referred to as the original one and said to have created the entire Pokemon world, presents a profound theological and cosmological puzzle. If Arceus is indeed the progenitor of all things, how did it come into being? And what is the nature of its power, which seems to transcend even the most potent of other legendary Pokemon? The concept of plates that grant Arceus different types suggests a customizable, almost modular form of existence, far removed from conventional biology. The other legendary trios and duos, each representing specific cosmic or natural forces, further complicate the picture. Do they derive their power from Arceus, or are they independent entities coexisting in a delicate balance? The conflicting narratives across different regions and generations of Pokemon games only deepen the mystery, suggesting that perhaps no single definitive truth exists, but rather a collection of interpretations passed down through countless ages. These legends, while captivating, offer more questions than answers, reminding us that there are forces at play in the Pokemon world whose true nature may forever remain beyond our full comprehension, hinting at a divine or cosmic order that predates all recorded history. The perplexing phenomenon of wild Pokemon not evolving, despite reaching levels where their domesticated counterparts would have already transformed, is another persistent enigma. In the wild, many Pokemon remain in their base forms, even when they possess immense power and experience, seemingly defying the very laws of evolution that govern Pokemon under human care. Is there something about the presence of a trainer, or the unique bond formed with one, that acts as a catalyst for evolution? Or perhaps it is the structured environment of training, the focused effort, and the specific stimuli provided by a trainer that unlock these latent potentials. Could it be that wild Pokemon face different pressures and priorities in their natural habitats, where survival and immediate adaptation take precedence over the long-term biological changes of evolution? The resource drain of evolution, the vulnerability during transformation, and the need to adapt to a new form might be too risky for a wild Pokemon without the support and protection of a trainer. Or perhaps the lack of a push from a trainer allows them to remain in a form that is perfectly suited to their current environment, rather than forcing a change that might not be immediately beneficial. This suggests a fascinating interplay between nature and nurture, where human interaction plays a surprisingly significant role in guiding the biological development of Pokemon. The wild Pokemon's apparent resistance to evolution, despite often being incredibly powerful in their base forms, raises questions about the true purpose and triggers of the evolutionary process. It implies that evolution is not merely a passive, automatic process driven by experience, but rather a more nuanced phenomenon influenced by external relationships and environmental context, a dynamic interaction between inherent potential and external stimuli. The existence of Pokemon that are seemingly created from inanimate objects, such as Magnemite from magnets or Voltorb from Pokeballs, challenges our fundamental understanding of life and its origins. Are these truly sentient beings, or are they animated constructs, imbued with a form of life force through unknown means. How does an electrical current or a containment device suddenly gain consciousness and the ability to reproduce, even if artificially? The concept of living objects blurs the lines between biological organisms and engineered artifacts, suggesting a form of life that can emerge from non biological components. This raises profound philosophical questions about what constitutes life in the Pokemon world. Is it simply the ability to move, think, and interact, regardless of composition? Or is there a deeper, unseen energy or essence that animates these objects? The Porygon line, created entirely within a digital space, further extends this mystery into the realm of artificial intelligence and virtual reality. If a Pokemon can be born from data, what are the implications for its consciousness and its place in the natural world? These artificial Pokemon, despite their unusual origins, often display emotions, form bonds, and participate in battles just like any other biological Pokemon, suggesting that their sentience is no less valid. This challenges our anthropocentric view of life and forces us to consider a much broader definition, one that encompasses forms of existence we might not readily recognize. The precise mechanisms by which these inanimate objects or digital constructs are imbued with life and how they integrate into the complex ecosystem of the Pokemon world remain a captivating and deeply thought provoking mystery, hinting at a universe where life can arise in myriad, unexpected forms. The peculiar phenomena of regional variance, where Pokemon of the same species exhibit vastly different appearances, types, and abilities in distinct geographical locations, adds another layer of complexity to the evolutionary puzzle. While environmental adaptation is a well understood biological principle, the rapidity and extent of these changes in Pokemon seem to defy conventional evolutionary timelines. How can a species diverge so dramatically within what appears to be a relatively short geological period? Is it merely accelerated natural selection, or are there other, more subtle forces at play? The presence of Alolan forms, or Galarian forms, suggests that distinct ecological pressures, perhaps even unique energy signatures or atmospheric compositions within specific regions, can profoundly alter a Pokemon's genetic expression and developmental pathways. These regional differences are often so pronounced that the variant Pokemon might be mistaken for an entirely different species, yet they share a common ancestor. This raises questions about the plasticity of Pokemon genetics and their remarkable adaptability. How do these physiological and typological changes become so quickly ingrained in the gene pool of a regional population? Does an individual Pokemon transform if moved to a different region, or are these traits inherited generationally? The existence of these variants suggests that Pokemon evolution is an incredibly dynamic and responsive process, constantly interacting with and being shaped by its environment in ways that are still not fully understood. It hints at a deep connection between the land itself and the life it supports, where the very essence of a region can imprint itself upon its inhabitants, creating a vibrant tapestry of biological diversity. The precise genetic and environmental triggers for these rapid and profound transformations remain a subject of ongoing scientific inquiry and speculation. The question of how Pokemon obtain their specific types, beyond the obvious biological characteristics, delves into the more esoteric aspects of their existence. Why is a fire type Pokemon immune to burns, or a ghost type Pokemon able to pass through solid objects? These elemental affinities and supernatural abilities often defy the laws of physics and chemistry as we understand them. Are these types merely classifications of their inherent energies, or do they represent a fundamental alteration of their physical being? The concept of type energy, or aura, seems to permeate the Pokemon world, influencing everything from battle mechanics to environmental interactions. Some theories suggest that certain Pokemon are born with an innate connection to specific elements, perhaps drawing power directly from the land, the atmosphere, or even other dimensions. Others propose that type is a manifestation of their internal life force or spirit, which aligns with particular elemental properties. The mechanisms by which a normal type Pokemon can learn a fire type move or a water type Pokemon can control ice further complicate the picture. Is it a learned skill, a manipulation of ambient energy, or a temporary alteration of their own elemental alignment? The ability of some Pokemon to change types under specific conditions, such as Arceus with its plates or Silvally with its memories, implies a fluidity and malleability to type that challenges fixed biological definitions. This suggests that type is not merely a static attribute, but a dynamic aspect of a Pokemon's identity, influenced by a complex interplay of genetics, environment, and perhaps even consciousness itself, a deep and intrinsic connection to the fundamental forces of the world. The true nature of these types and how they imbue Pokemon with such extraordinary properties remains one of the most fundamental and enduring mysteries of the Pokemon universe, a constant reminder that power and essence often transcend our logical frameworks. The unusual and often contradictory habitats of certain Pokemon present another layer of environmental mystery. Why does a fire type Pokemon thrive in a volcanic cavern, seemingly impervious to extreme heat, while a water type Pokemon flourishes in the deepest, most crushing pressures of the ocean, unaffected by the lack of light or immense force? Their physiological adaptations seem to defy the limits of conventional biology. How do they regulate their internal temperatures, withstand immense pressures, or survive in environments devoid of conventional sustenance? The concept of energy absorption or elemental sustenance might offer some clues, suggesting that some Pokemon can draw vital energy directly from their elemental surroundings, rather than relying solely on traditional food sources. This would explain their ability to survive in seemingly barren or hostile environments. The existence of Pokemon that can live in both land and water, or even in the vacuum of space, further strains our understanding of their biological resilience and adaptability. Are there internal biological mechanisms that allow them to rapidly adjust to vastly different conditions, or are their bodies simply designed to operate outside the normal parameters of terrestrial life? The symbiotic relationships some Pokemon form with their environments, such as grass type Pokemon drawing nutrients directly from the soil, hint at a deeper, more integrated connection to their surroundings than simple habitation. These extreme adaptations suggest a mastery over their elemental properties that extends beyond mere resistance, implying an active interaction with an utilization of their environment for survival and flourishing, a testament to the diverse and extraordinary evolutionary pathways present throughout the Pokemon world. Their ability to not just survive, but thrive in places that would be instantly fatal to most other life forms highlights the inherent magic and distinct biological principles governing the Pokemon universe, making their ecological niches truly baffling from a conventional scientific perspective. The mysterious origins and purposes of legendary Pokemon, often revered as deities or primordial forces, present another profound enigma that permeates the very fabric of the Pokemon world. These magnificent beings, often singular or exceedingly rare, possess powers that defy explanation, shaping landscapes, controlling weather patterns, and even influencing the flow of time and space itself. Their existence challenges the conventional understanding of evolution and creation, suggesting a lineage far removed from the more common Pokemon species. Are they truly gods, born from the very essence of the universe, or are they simply exceptionally powerful creatures whose abilities have been misinterpreted and mythologized over countless generations? The legends surrounding them often speak of their involvement in the creation or destruction of entire regions, or their role in balancing the natural order. Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, for instance, are said to govern time, space, and antimatter respectively, their very presence dictating the fundamental laws of existence. Yet despite their immense power and symbolic significance, they are not omniscient or omnipresent. They can be encountered, battled, and even captured, albeit with extreme difficulty, raising questions about the limitations of their divinity. If they are truly gods, why are they susceptible to the same capture mechanisms as a common Rattata? Is their willingness to be caught a test of character, a form of communion, or simply a reflection of their own complex motivations that we, as mere mortals, cannot fully comprehend? Furthermore, their motivations for intervening in human or Pokemon affairs are often unclear. Sometimes they act to restore balance. Other times, they appear to be driven by a more personal agenda, or even seem to be testing the resolve of those who encounter them. The legendary Pokemon often appear at critical junctures in history, their actions shaping the destiny of entire civilizations. Are these interventions preordained, or are they spontaneous reactions to unfolding events? The nature of their consciousness, their sentience, and their capacity for emotion remains largely unexplored. Do they experience the world in a way analogous to other living beings, or is their perception entirely alien, a reflection of their cosmic origins? The fact that some legendary Pokemon are said to have created entire regions, or even the Pokemon world itself, like Arceus, who is often referred to as the original one, further blurs the lines between creator and created. If Arceus truly fashioned the universe, why does it occasionally appear to interact with the world it supposedly brought into being, sometimes even aiding trainers? This suggests a more intimate and ongoing relationship with its creation than that of an aloof deity. The sheer scale of their powers and the profound impact they have on the world around them make their continued existence a source of both awe and profound mystery. Their presence reminds us that there are forces at play in the Pokemon world that transcend our scientific understanding, forces that touch upon the very origins and destiny of all life. The phenomenon of shiny Pokemon, these rare and uniquely colored variations of common species, presents another captivating enigma. Their existence is purely aesthetic, offering no discernible advantage in battle or ecological adaptation, yet their rarity and distinctive appearance make them highly prized among trainers. What is the genetic mechanism that produces these alternate colorations, and why does it occur so infrequently? Is it a random mutation, a recessive gene, or is there a subtle environmental trigger that eludes our detection? The statistical probability of encountering a shiny Pokemon in the wild is incredibly low, often quoted as 1 in 46, or even rarer, without specific methods to increase the odds. This extreme rarity suggests that whatever genetic anomaly causes the shiny trait is either highly unstable, rapidly selected against in natural populations, or simply a very rare spontaneous event. Yet the fact that these variations persist across generations, even if rarely, indicates that the underlying genetic information is stable enough to be inherited. The lack of any apparent evolutionary benefit for a shiny coloration is particularly puzzling. In the wild, conspicuous colorations can often make an individual more vulnerable to predators or less effective at hunting prey. Yet shiny Pokemon seem to thrive just as well as their normally colored counterparts, suggesting that their unique hues do not impart any significant disadvantage. This leads to the question: is there a hidden purpose to shiny Pokemon that we simply haven't discovered yet? Or are they truly just a beautiful, enigmatic quirk of nature? Some theories propose that shiny Pokemon might be an evolutionary relic, a remnant of a past coloration that was once more common, or perhaps a sign of a rare but harmless genetic deviation. Others suggest a more metaphysical explanation, perhaps a subtle resonance with environmental energy or an unusual alignment of cosmic forces at the moment of their birth or evolution. The mystery deepens when considering Pokemon that have multiple shiny forms, or those whose shiny coloration is barely distinguishable from their normal appearance, leading one to wonder about the subjective nature of what constitutes a shiny and the underlying genetic principles that govern these variations. The ability of certain Pokemon to learn moves that seem completely incongruous with their physical form or elemental typing is another fascinating and often humorous mystery. How can a bipedal fighting type Pokemon like Machamp learn to use a move like Surf, which is typically associated with water type Pokemon and requires movement over water? Similarly, why can a rock type Pokemon like Geodude learn Flamethrower, a powerful fire type attack? Those seemingly illogical movesets challenge our understanding of Pokemon biology and the nature of their abilities. Are these moves learned through sheer force of will and dedication to training, defying physical limitations? Or is there a more subtle, internal mechanism at play, perhaps a latent elemental affinity or a deep understanding of energy manipulation that transcends their outward appearance? The TM, or technical machine, and HM, or hidden machine system, further complicates this mystery. These devices allow Pokemon to learn specific moves, suggesting that the knowledge or capability for these actions can be transferred externally. But how does a TM containing Fly impart the ability to soar through the skies to a Pokemon that has no wings, like a Snorlax, even if the Snorlax cannot physically perform the move outside of battle? This implies a separation between the physical act of performing a move and the internal capacity or understanding required to execute it. Perhaps the learning of this incongruous moves is not about mimicking the exact physical action, but rather about channeling a particular type of energy or understanding the fundamental principles of the move. A Machamp learning surf might not literally be riding a wave, but rather manipulating water energy to strike an opponent with a watery force. A Geodude learning flamethrower could be channeling internal heat or generating a localized combustion rather than breathing fire. This suggests that Pokemon moves are not always direct physical manifestations, but rather expressions of elemental or kinetic energy, and that a Pokemon's type might only represent its primary affinity, not its sole capability. The ability to learn a diverse range of moves, even those seemingly outside their natural predisposition, highlights the incredible versatility and untapped potential within each Pokemon, reminding us that their powers are often far more nuanced and adaptable than their outward appearance suggests. It's a delightful puzzle, hinting at a deeper, more abstract understanding of elemental forces that Pokemon inherently possess. The elusive nature of Ditto, a Pokemon renowned for its uncanny ability to transform into any other Pokemon or even inanimate objects, presents a biological and evolutionary riddle of profound proportions. How does Ditto achieve such perfect replication down to the cellular level, mimicking not only appearance, but also abilities, moves, and even statistical attributes? What is the underlying genetic mechanism that allows for such instantaneous and flawless shapeshifting? Ditto's original form is a simple, amorphous pink blob, seemingly devoid of complex internal structures. Yet within moments, it can perfectly imitate the intricate anatomy of a powerful dragon or a nimble bird. This implies an unparalleled mastery over its own cellular structure, an ability to reconfigure its DNA and proteins on demand. Is it absorbing genetic information from its target, or does it possess a universal genetic template that can be molded into any form? The fact that Ditto can also transform into inanimate objects, albeit imperfectly, further stretches the boundaries of its transformative capabilities. This suggests that its ability goes beyond mere biological mimicry, perhaps involving a form of energy manipulation or even a limited form of matter manipulation. If it can shift its physical properties to resemble a rock or a table, what is the true extent of its power? Furthermore, Ditto is often depicted as having no true gender and can breed with almost any other Pokemon, producing offspring of the partner's species. This unique breeding capability, coupled with its transformative powers, suggests a fundamental role in the propagation and perhaps even evolution of Pokemon species. Could Ditto be a primordial Pokemon, a universal ancestor, or a biological anomaly that holds the key to understanding the very nature of genetic plasticity in the Pokemon world? The mystery deepens when considering the limitations of Ditto's transformation. While it can perfectly mimic a Pokemon's appearance and moves, it cannot perfectly replicate its unique abilities or certain signature attacks, or sometimes struggles with complex mental states. This suggests that there are inherent boundaries to its powers, perhaps hinting at a deeper, non physical component to a Pokemon's identity that Ditto cannot fully grasp. Is it that Ditto can only replicate the physical and genetic aspects, but not the spirit or essence of a Pokemon? Its existence is a constant reminder that the most unassuming forms can harbor the most extraordinary and inexplicable powers, challenging our fundamental understanding of biology and identity. The concept of Pokemon evolving through unconventional means, beyond simple leveling up or exposure to evolution stones, introduces a fascinating layer of mystery regarding the triggers and mechanisms of transformation. While some evolutions follow a clear path, others are contingent upon highly specific and often peculiar conditions. For instance, some Pokemon evolve only when traded with another trainer while holding a particular item. How does the act of being traded, a seemingly social or logistical event, trigger a profound biological metamorphosis? Does the act of trade itself signify a new environment, a new bond, or simply a specific energy transfer that acts as a catalyst for evolution? The requirement of a specific item, such as a king's rock or a metal coat, further complicates matters. How do these seemingly inert objects interact with a Pokemon's internal biology to initiate such a dramatic change? Are they acting as a source of concentrated elemental energy, or do they contain a specific genetic trigger that unlocks latent evolutionary potential? Then there are Pokemon that evolve based on their friendship level with their trainer or their happiness. This suggests that emotional bonds and psychological states can directly influence biological processes, leading to profound physical changes. How does a Pokemon's emotional well being translate into the genetic reprogramming required for evolution? Is it a form of epigenetics, where environmental, in this case, emotional factors, influence gene expression, or is there a more direct, perhaps even psychic, link between trainer and Pokemon that facilitates this transformation? Other peculiar evolution methods include evolving at a certain time of day or night, in a specific location, or after learning a particular move. Why would the position of the sun or moon or the geographical coordinates of a place have such a profound impact on a Pokemon's genetic destiny? Are these environmental cues acting as a trigger for dormant genes, or are there subtle energies at play in these locations or time frames that facilitate the evolutionary process? These unconventional evolutions challenge the traditional Darwinian model of natural selection and adaptation. They suggest that evolution in the Pokemon world is not solely driven by survival pressures, but also by social interactions, emotional connections, and perhaps even subtle environmental energies that are yet to be fully understood. The sheer diversity of these evolutionary triggers hints at a complex and multifaceted biological system where the line between the physical, the emotional, and the environmental is profoundly blurred, leaving us to wonder about the true nature of transformation in the Pokemon world. The fact that some Pokemon can even devolve under certain conditions or evolve into different forms based on similar triggers only deepens this intricate biological puzzle. The unexplained presence of ancient ruins and technologically advanced artifacts scattered throughout the Pokemon world presents a compelling archaeological and historical mystery. Who built these elaborate structures, some seemingly millennia old, and what was their purpose? Many of these ruins contain cryptic inscriptions, complex puzzles, and often house legendary Pokemon or hold clues to their power. Were these the remnants of forgotten civilizations, or perhaps the work of beings far more advanced than current human understanding? The technological artifacts, such as the light ball or the Grigious orb, often possess powers that defy contemporary scientific explanation, enhancing a Pokemon's abilities or altering its form? Were these created by advanced human civilizations of the past, or were they left behind by extraterrestrial visitors, or even the legendary Pokemon themselves? The fact that current technology often struggles to replicate their effects suggests a lost art or a scientific paradigm that has been forgotten. Consider the Relic Castle in Unova, a vast desert ruin hinting at a powerful ancient kingdom that once flourished. What caused its downfall? What scientific or magical knowledge did its inhabitants possess? The Spear Pillar in Sinnoh, an ancient temple dedicated to the creation trio, suggests a deep historical connection between humans and legendary Pokemon, perhaps even a period when their interactions were more commonplace or direct. The unknown, mysterious alphabet like Pokemon found predominantly in ancient ruins add another layer to this enigma. Their presence often coincides with significant historical events or locations, and their collective psychic power is said to be able to warp reality. Were they guardians of these ancient sites, or perhaps even the architects of the civilizations that built them? Their unique forms, each representing a letter of an ancient alphabet, suggest a connection to language and forgotten knowledge, hinting at a lost form of communication or a symbolic representation of the universe's fundamental building blocks. These ancient remnants suggest a rich and complex history for the Pokemon world, one that extends far beyond the recorded annals of current human civilization. They speak of powerful beings, advanced knowledge, and perhaps even catastrophic events that led to their decline or disappearance. The study of these ruins and artifacts is not just archaeology, but a pursuit of fundamental truths about the origins of the Pokemon world, the nature of its legendary inhabitants, and the potential for lost technologies that could reshape the future. The sheer scale and complexity of these ancient mysteries leave us with more questions than answers, a silent testament to a grandeur that once was and perhaps still resonates in the very stones and artifacts that remain. And within this tapestry of forgotten grandeur, we find the curious case of the Pokemon themselves, particularly their origins and their undeniable, often inexplicable power. Take, for instance, the foundational mystery of how Pokemon came to be in the first place. The scientific community posits evolutionary theories, tracing lineages and adaptations, yet this often falls short when confronted with the sheer diversity and often fantastical abilities of Pokemon. Where did the first Pokemon come from? Was it a single progenitor? An Arceus, as some legends suggest, shaping the world and its inhabitants from primordial energy? Or did life spontaneously emerge in countless forms, evolving into the complex ecosystem we observe today? The creation trio, Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, are said to govern time, space, and antimatter respectively, their very existence defying conventional scientific understanding. How do they maintain these universal forces? Is it through a conscious act of will, or are they simply embodiments of these concepts, their presence inherently maintaining the balance? The powers they wield are cosmic in scale, capable of distorting reality itself, yet they can be encountered as and even captured, albeit with immense difficulty. This brings us to another profound mystery: the nature of legendary Pokemon. Are they truly immortal, or do they simply possess extraordinarily long lifespans? Do they age, or are they ageless beings, existing outside the conventional constraints of time and biology? Their motivations are often opaque, acting on grand scales that seem to transcend human comprehension. Are they benevolent guardians, neutral forces of nature, or do they possess their own intricate desires and goals? Consider the Tower of Mastery in Kalos, a place where the secrets of mega evolution are said to reside. Mega evolution itself is a transient, yet immensely powerful transformation, allowing certain Pokémon to temporarily tap into latent potential, changing their form and boosting their abilities. What triggers this profound shift? Is it purely the bond between trainer and Pokémon, or is there a deeper, almost mystical energy at play, perhaps stemming from the Megastones themselves? These stones, seemingly ordinary rocks, react to keystones held by trainers, unleashing this temporary power. What is the fundamental mechanism behind this energy transfer? How do these stones store and release such immense power, and how were they originally created or discovered? The ancient texts hint at a weapon that once consumed life force to power itself, and that the megastones are somehow linked to its residual energy. This raises chilling questions about the moral implications of such power and the potential for its misuse. Then there are the Ultra Beasts, mysterious creatures from another dimension, capable of appearing through ultra wormholes. Their very existence challenges our understanding of parallel universes and interdimensional travel. How do these wormholes form? Are they naturally occurring phenomena, or are they created by some unknown force or intelligence? The Ultra Beasts themselves possess unique biological structures and often behave in ways that are alien to the Pokemon world, some exhibiting predatory instincts, unlike anything seen before, others seemingly drawn to certain forms of energy. Their appearance can disrupt ecosystems and cause widespread panic, highlighting the delicate balance of their home dimension and the potential consequences of interdimensional breaches. What are their true motivations for crossing over? Are they explorers, refugees, or simply driven by instinct? Their names, like Nihilego or Pheromosa, hint at their otherworldly nature, and their power levels often far exceed those of even legendary Pokémon, raising questions about the true extent of power within the multiverse. The concept of regional variance also presents an intriguing mystery. Why do certain Pokémon, when found in different regions, develop distinct appearances, typings, and abilities? For example, the Alolan Vulpix, a graceful ice fairy type, differs significantly from its Kanto fire type counterpart. Is this purely a matter of environmental adaptation, similar to how species evolve in the real world? Or is there a more subtle, perhaps even mystical, influence at play, shaping them to the unique energies or spiritual climate of a particular region? The sheer speed at which some of these variants seem to have emerged within a relatively short historical time frame suggests something beyond conventional evolutionary processes. Could it be a form of accelerated evolution or a genetic memory of past forms reacting to new stimuli? Consider the Spirit Omb, a Pokemon composed of 108 spirits bound to a single odd keystone. How did these spirits become bound? Was it a deliberate act, a curse, or a natural phenomenon? The odd keystone itself, a seemingly innocuous rock, possesses the power to contain such immense spiritual energy. What are its properties, and how does it function as a prison for so many restless souls? The legends surrounding Spiritomes speak of mischievous acts and forbidden spells, hinting at a darker side to the Pokemon world's history, a time when ancient magic or powerful curses were more prevalent. The fact that it requires specific circumstances to summon, such as interacting with a certain number of people underground, adds to its cryptic nature, suggesting a connection to collective human energy or an ancient ritual. Then there's the pervasive mystery of human Pokemon communication. While some Pokemon, particularly those of high intelligence or strong bonds with their trainers, can seemingly understand human language, the precise mechanism remains unclear. Is it telepathy, empathy, or a more sophisticated form of nonverbal communication? The Meowth of Team Rocket, famously capable of human speech, is an extreme anomaly, having painstakingly taught itself to speak over many years, losing the ability to use its signature move, Payday, in the process. This suggests that speaking human language is not a natural ability for most Pokemon, yet they often respond to complex commands and express nuanced emotions. How do trainers and Pokemon forge such deep connections, transcending the language barrier? Is it a form of intuitive understanding, a shared consciousness that develops over time, or is there a subtle psychic link that allows for the transference of thought and feeling? The Pokédex itself, a marvel of miniaturized technology, is capable of instantly cataloging and identifying Pokemon, providing detailed information on their biology, habits, and abilities. How does it acquire this information so rapidly and accurately? Is it connected to a vast, unseen network of data, or does it possess some form of advanced scanning technology that can instantly decipher the complex genetic and energetic makeup of a Pokemon? The unknown present another layer to the communication mystery. Their very forms are letters, their cries seemingly spelling out words or phrases, often cryptic and prophetic. Are they communicating directly through their physical forms, or are they channeling some ancient language or consciousness? Their ability to warp reality when gathered in large numbers, as seen in the Entei illusion in the Johto region, suggests a profound connection to the fabric of existence, and their role as potential guardians of ancient knowledge makes their communication methods even more compelling. Do they speak a universal language, accessible to all, or is their communication understood only by those attuned to their unique vibrations? The phenomenon of shiny Pokemon, rare variations with different color palettes, also remains largely unexplained. Are they simply genetic mutations, aesthetic deviations from the norm, or do they possess some subtle, unseen difference in their energy or essence? The immense rarity of encountering a shiny Pokemon in the wild suggests that their appearance is not a common evolutionary trait, but rather a unique occurrence, almost a cosmic lottery. Some theories suggest a connection to elemental energy or a slight alteration in their spiritual aura. Do they possess any hidden abilities or resistances that normal Pokemon do not? Their value among collectors is undeniable, yet their true significance in the broader Pokemon world remains an intriguing enigma. Consider the mirage Pokemon of Hoenn, such as Latias and Latios, capable of cloaking themselves, appearing only to those with pure hearts or a strong connection to them. What is the nature of this cloaking ability? Is it a form of invisibility, an illusion, or a manipulation of light and sound waves? Their ability to fly at supersonic speeds and navigate complex emotional landscapes suggests a level of awareness and power that transcends conventional understanding. Are they truly physical beings, or are they partially ethereal, capable of phasing in and out of existence at will? Their strong empathic abilities, allowing them to sense the emotions of others, further deepens the mystery of their unique physiology and their role as guardians or observers of the human world. The Mewtwo Project remains a chilling testament to humanity's ambition and its often unforeseen consequences. A genetically engineered Pokémon created from the DNA of Mewtwo embodies immense psychic power and a troubled consciousness, grappling with its artificial existence and its purpose. How was such an advanced genetic engineering feat achieved, especially given the scientific limitations of the time in which it was created? The sheer power it possesses, capable of telekinesis on a grand scale, mind control, and even interdimensional travel, raises questions about the ultimate capabilities of genetic manipulation and the potential for creating life forms that surpass their creators in every conceivable way. Mewtwo's internal struggle, its search for meaning, and its occasional acts of both aggression and compassion highlight the complex ethical dilemmas inherent in tampering with the fundamental building blocks of life. Was its power inherent in Mew's DNA, or was it amplified and distorted by the experimental process? And then there are the fossils, the ancient remnants of long extinct Pokémon capable of being revived through advanced scientific techniques. How does this revival process work? What are the precise conditions and technologies required to bring a creature back from fossilized remains, essentially reconstituting its living cells and consciousness? The Devon Corporation in Hoenn is renowned for its fossil revival technology, yet the specifics of their methods are closely guarded secrets. Are they simply regenerating lost tissue, or are they tapping into some form of genetic memory or life energy preserved within the fossils? The revived Pokémon, while appearing physically identical to their ancient counterparts, often possess subtle differences in their movesets or abilities, hinting at the limitations of the revival process or perhaps the influence of modern environments. This raises questions about the true authenticity of these revived creatures. Are they perfect replicas of their ancient ancestors, or are they new life forms, imbued with the essence of the past, but fundamentally shaped by the present? The existence of amber, which can preserve ancient DNA, suggests a scientific basis, yet the leap from preserved DNA to a fully living, breathing, and conscious Pokemon is a monumental one, hinting at a scientific understanding far beyond our current grasp. The weather trio of Hoenn, Kyogre, and Groudon, and Rayquaza represent fundamental forces of nature, sea, land, and sky. Their battles, capable of altering the very geography of the world, highlight the immense power wielded by legendary Pokemon. What triggers their primordial clashes? Are they conscious acts of aggression, or are they simply embodiments of natural phenomena, their powers intrinsically linked to the balance of the planet? The red orb and blue orb, ancient artifacts said to control Groudon and Kyogre respectively, possess a mysterious power to awaken and amplify their abilities. How are these orbs created, and what is their connection to the legendary Pokemon themselves? Are they mere tools, or are they extensions of the Pokemon's own will and power? Rayquaza, the master of the sky, is said to quell their disputes, acting as a neutral arbiter. Its ability to mega evolve without a mega stone instead drawing power from meteors, further adds to its mystique, suggesting a unique connection to cosmic energies that transcends even the powers of other legendary Pokémon. The destructive potential of these titans, capable of reshaping continents and oceans, serves as a constant reminder of the delicate balance of the Pokemon world and the awesome forces that lie beneath its surface, forces that are often beyond human control or even comprehension. The legends surrounding them speak of ancient civilizations that worshipped them, or perhaps even suffered catastrophic consequences from their uncontrolled might. Even the seemingly mundane aspects of the Pokemon world hold their share of mystery. Consider the Pokeballs themselves, ingenious devices capable of shrinking and containing Pokemon of all shapes and sizes, from the smallest Joltik to the colossal Wailord. How do they work? What is the fundamental principle behind their ability to convert a living creature into energy and store it within a small sphere, only to release it seemingly unharmed? The technology is commonplace, yet its underlying physics remains unexplained. Is it a form of advanced matter manipulation, a pocket dimension, or something else entirely? The various types of Pokeballs, each with specialized functions for catching certain Pokemon or in specific situations, suggest a sophisticated understanding of Pokemon biology and behavior. The Master Ball, capable of catching any Pokemon without fail, hints at a theoretical limit to this technology, a perfect capture mechanism that remains a marvel of scientific achievement, yet its creation and the limits of its power are rarely delved into. The very concept of evolution in Pokemon also differs markedly from biological evolution in our understanding. Here, it is a sudden, often dramatic transformation, triggered by gaining experience, exposure to elemental stones, or even through trade. What is the mechanism behind these rapid, often complete physiological and sometimes even psychological changes? Is it a sudden activation of dormant genes, a burst of latent energy, or a spiritual metamorphosis? The evolutionary stones, such as the Fire Stone or Water Stone, seem to catalyze these changes, acting as powerful catalysts for specific types of Pokemon. How do these stones interact with a Pokemon's biology to induce such a profound transformation? Do they emit a specific frequency of energy, or do they contain a concentrated form of elemental power that reshapes the Pokemon's very being? The mystery deepens with Pokemon like Eevee, capable of evolving into 8 different forms depending on various factors, hinting at a highly adaptable genetic code and a deep connection to elemental energies. Each evolution is a unique pathway, a fork in the road of a Pokemon's development, and the precise triggers often hint at underlying unspoken forces at play within their biology. And then there are the move tutors, individuals scattered across the regions who can teach Pokemon rare or unique moves that they wouldn't normally learn through leveling up. How do they impart this knowledge? Is it a form of mental conditioning, a direct transfer of learned skills, or do they awaken dormant abilities within the Pokemon? Some tutors require specific items, like heart scales, to teach moves, suggesting a spiritual or emotional component to the learning process, perhaps linking to a Pokemon's past memories or innate potential. The existence of hidden abilities, rare traits that certain Pokemon possess, often requiring specific breeding methods or special encounters to discover, also adds to the layers of genetic and hereditary mystery. Are these truly hidden, or are they simply less common expressions of a Pokemon's genetic potential, waiting for the right conditions to manifest? The sheer complexity of Pokemon genetics and the myriad ways in which their abilities and forms can manifest continue to confound human understanding, presenting a vast, unexplored frontier of biological and energetic science. The world of Pokemon is not merely a collection of creatures, it is a living, breathing enigma. Each rustle in the tall grass, each ancient ruin, each shimmering legendary, a whispered question in the grand, unending narrative of its existence. The whispered question extends to the very structure of the Pokemon world itself, a world where certain locations possess an undeniable, palpable energy, often referred to as power spots or sacred lands. Think of the Spear Pillar atop Mount Coronet in Sinnoh, a place steeped in the legends of Dialga and Palkia, where reality itself seems to thin, allowing glimpses into other dimensions. Or the Celestial Tower in Unova, a place of peace and remembrance, where the spirits of deceased Pokemon are said to reside, and its bells ring with a profound, sorrowful beauty. What imbues these places with such significance? Is it the sheer concentration of ambient energy, a lingering aura from legendary encounters, or perhaps a unique geological composition that resonates with the spiritual realm? The energy emanating from these locations often has tangible effects, from influencing Pokemon behavior to subtly altering the local climate, yet the precise nature of this energy remains undefined. It's a force that seems to interact with both the physical and spiritual, a silent hum that only certain individuals or Pokemon can truly perceive. Consider the ultra wormholes, shimmering ethereal portals that sporadically appear, connecting the Pokemon world to other dimensions, specifically the Ultra Beasts' homeworlds. These wormholes are not merely gateways, they are tears in the fabric of space time, appearing seemingly at random, yet sometimes influenced by powerful Pokemon or specific environmental conditions. How do these interdimensional rifts form? What are the underlying principles that govern their appearance and disappearance? The Ultra Beasts themselves, with their alien physiologies and often unsettling appearances, pose a fundamental question about the diversity of life across parallel universes. They are not Pokemon in the traditional sense, yet they interact with and are affected by the Pokemon world's environment. The very existence of these wormholes suggests a multiverse, a boundless collection of realities, and the Pokemon world is but one thread in this cosmic tapestry. The brief, unpredictable glimpses into these other worlds through the wormholes are tantalizing, hinting at countless other forms of life and different physical laws, a concept that stretches the imagination beyond conventional understanding. Then there are the legendary and mythical Pokemon, creatures of immense power and often unique abilities, whose existence is frequently intertwined with the very creation or maintenance of the Pokemon world. Arceus, the alpha Pokemon, is said to have shaped the universe with its 1,000 arms, and its plates embody the elements, allowing it to change its type at will. How can one creature possess such cosmic power, capable of altering reality on a fundamental level? Is Arceus a god in the truest sense, or a being of such advanced biological and energetic complexity that it surpasses all known scientific classification? The lore surrounding these legendary beings often blurs the lines between myth and fact. making it difficult to discern their true nature. Rayquaza, residing in the ozone layer, maintaining the balance between Gruden and Kyogre, exists in an environment inhospitable to almost all other life. How does it survive and thrive there, and what is the source of its immense power to quell natural disasters? The Regis, golems of rock, ice, and steel, each with a distinct method of activation and a deeply ingrained connection to ancient civilizations, hint at a technological or magical past far beyond current human capabilities. Their silent, unmoving presence in their ancient temples speaks of a forgotten era, a time when humans and Pokemon perhaps interacted on a different, more profound level. The concept of mega evolution, a temporary yet powerful transformation experienced by certain Pokemon, adds another layer to the mystery of latent potential. Triggered by a megastone held by the Pokemon and a keystone held by its trainer, this transformation unlocks immense power and often alters the Pokemon's appearance and abilities dramatically. What is the precise mechanism by which these stones interact to induce such a profound yet temporary change? Is it a surge of latent energy within the Pokemon, amplified by the stones, or a temporary resequencing of its genetic code? The bond between trainer and Pokemon is often cited as a crucial element, suggesting an emotional or spiritual component to this power up. This raises questions about the nature of the trainer Pokemon bond itself. Is it merely companionship, or does it extend to a deeper, almost telepathic or empathic connection that can influence physiological processes? The energy released during mega evolution is often depicted as a brilliant, shimmering aura, hinting at a power source that is both internal to the Pokemon and external, drawn from the interaction with the stones and the trainer's will. Consider also the phenomenon of shiny Pokemon, incredibly rare color variations of standard Pokemon. These creatures are identical in every way to their regular counterparts, save for their distinct coloration. What is the genetic or environmental trigger for such a vivid yet seemingly arbitrary deviation in their pigmentation? Is it a random mutation, a recessive gene expressing itself, or a subtle influence from their environment during development? The odds of encountering a shiny Pokemon are notoriously low, making them highly sought after by trainers. Their existence adds an element of beautiful, unexplained randomness to the Pokemon world, a reminder that even within established biological norms, there can be delightful deviations that defy easy categorization. The very concept of Pokemon centers, ubiquitous and seemingly miraculous healing facilities, presents a persistent mystery. Nurse Joy, with her ever present Chansey or Blissey, can heal any Pokemon, no matter how gravely injured, in a matter of moments, often with just a soft glow and a gentle touch. What is the technology or method employed in these centers? Is it advanced medical science, a form of spiritual healing, or a combination of both? The speed and effectiveness of their treatments are far beyond any known human medical capabilities, suggesting a profound understanding of Pokemon physiology and energy manipulation that's not readily explained. The consistency of their healing across all regions, despite potentially different staffing and resources, further deepens this enigma. It suggests a standardized, perhaps even universal, healing technology or spiritual practice that underpins the entire Pokemon world. And what about the Pokeballs themselves? These seemingly simple devices, capable of shrinking and containing even the largest and most powerful Pokémon, are a marvel of unknown technology. How do they convert a living, breathing creature into a compact energy form and then release it unharmed? Is it a form of molecular deconstruction and reconstruction, a teleporter like technology, or something far more esoteric, interacting with a Pokemon's spiritual or energetic essence? The internal environment of a Pokeball is also a mystery. Do Pokemon perceive it as a comfortable, perhaps even spacious, inner world, or are they simply suspended in a state of stasis? The fact that they can heal and rest within Pokeballs suggests a nurturing environment, yet the precise nature of this internal space remains unexplained, a testament to the advanced yet unseen technology that permeates the Pokemon world. The lingering presence of ancient civilizations and their ruins scattered across various regions also raises many questions. These structures often depict Pokemon in prominent roles, suggesting a deeper, more intertwined relationship between humans and Pokemon in the distant past. The unknown, glyph like Pokemon found in ruins like the Alph ruins are said to be connected to an ancient language or script capable of influencing reality when gathered in sufficient numbers. What was the purpose of these ancient civilizations, and what knowledge did they possess about Pokemon that has since been lost? Their sophisticated architectural designs, often incorporating elements that resonate with Pokemon abilities or lore, hint at a profound understanding of the world's energetic currents and the spiritual dimensions of Pokemon. The relic song of Meloetta, for instance, is said to have been sung in ancient times to bring joy and peace, suggesting a musical tradition with powerful, almost magical effects. Consider the mystery dungeon phenomenon, where Pokemon spontaneously find themselves in intricate, often dangerous dungeons that seem to shift and change, challenging their navigation and combat skills. These dungeons appear to exist in a separate dimension or reality, accessible only to Pokemon, and their purpose remains unknown. Are they natural formations, a consequence of elemental energies, or perhaps even a form of cosmic training ground? The intelligence and social structures observed within these mystery dungeons, where Pokemon form rescue teams and establish communities, suggest a complex, unseen world operating beneath or alongside the human centric Pokemon world. The very concept of Pokemon communicating with each other in complex languages within these dungeons without human interpretation further underscores the hidden depths of their intelligence and social dynamics. Finally, the pervasive, undeniable aura that emanates from certain Pokemon and individuals, particularly those with a strong spiritual connection, is a concept that defies purely scientific explanation. Aura is often described as a life energy, a spiritual essence that can be perceived, manipulated, and even used in battle. Lucario, for example, is renowned for its ability to sense and manipulate aura, using it for communication and attack. What is the physical or energetic basis of this aura? Is it a manifestation of the Pokemon's life force, a form of bioelectricity, or a spiritual emanation? The concept of aura guardians, individuals who can understand and connect with aura, suggests a latent human ability that can be cultivated, blurring the lines between human and Pokemon capabilities. This unseen energy, permeating the world and connecting all living things, remains one of the most profound and beautiful mysteries, a testament to the subtle, spiritual dimensions of the Pokemon universe. Each of these unspoken questions, each unraveled thread of lore, draws us deeper into a world of wonder and the quiet contemplation of the truly unexplained, a world that continues to whisper its secrets to those who listen closely, inviting us to drift into its peaceful embrace. And so we continue our journey into the quiet depths of the Pokemon world, seeking out those gentle mysteries that still ripple beneath the surface of our understanding. Let us consider the phenomenon of shiny Pokemon, those rare, chromatically altered variants that appear in the wild with an incredibly low probability. Is their unusual coloration a mere genetic anomaly, a random mutation within their species? Or does it signify something more profound, a latent energy or a unique spiritual resonance that manifests as a distinct hue? The Pokédex entries offer no definitive explanation, leaving us to ponder whether these shimmering creatures possess any inherent differences beyond their striking appearance. Do they attract different energies, or perhaps perceive the world in a subtly altered way due to their unique genetic makeup? The thrill of encountering a shiny Pokemon is undeniable, a feeling of having stumbled upon something truly special, almost magical. But what makes them special, beyond their rarity and aesthetic appeal? The absence of a clear biological or lore based explanation for their existence only deepens their allure, transforming them into living enigmas that occasionally grace our journeys. Then there's the curious case of Pokemon gender. While many species exhibit clear male and female forms, engaging in reproduction and displaying gender specific behaviors, some Pokemon are entirely genderless. Legendary Pokemon, in particular, often fall into this category, existing beyond the conventional binary. What does it mean for a being to exist without gender in a world where reproduction is a fundamental aspect of life? Are they self sufficient, or do they reproduce through asexual means, a process not observed or understood by humanity? The concept challenges our anthropocentric view of biology, forcing us to consider alternative forms of existence and perpetuation. Does their genderlessness contribute to their immense power or their unique place in the world's mythology? The paradox of powerful, ancient beings existing outside the typical reproductive cycle suggests a deeper, more fundamental form of existence, perhaps closer to elemental forces or pure energy than to the biological organisms we readily categorize. And what of the Pokerus virus, a benevolent affliction that rather than harming Pokemon, actually enhances their growth and strength? Unlike any known terrestrial virus, Pokerus confers benefits, multiplying effort values gained in battle, making Pokemon stronger and more efficient in their training. How did such a beneficial virus evolve? Is it a symbiotic organism, a natural phenomenon, or perhaps even a deliberate creation by an unknown ancient intelligence? Its existence defies our conventional understanding of pathogens, which are typically detrimental. The fact that it can spread from one Pokemon to another, yet never causes ill effects, makes it a biological marvel, a gentle enigma that aids in the development of Pokemon without ever demanding a toll. The mystery lies not in its effects, which are clearly positive, but in its very nature and origin, a benevolent biological anomaly that seems almost designed to assist life rather than hinder it. Let us also reflect on the inexplicable power of friendship or affection in Pokemon. Beyond mere companionship, a strong bond between a trainer and their Pokemon can unlock hidden potential, influence battle outcomes, and even allow Pokemon to resist status conditions or survive otherwise fatal blows. This isn't just about morale, it's a tangible, quantifiable influence on their abilities. How does an emotional connection translate into physical resilience or enhanced power? Is it a spiritual resonance, a psychological boost that taps into latent abilities, or perhaps an unseen energetic exchange that strengthens the Pokemon? The mechanics of this bond, while celebrated and encouraged, remain largely undefined. It transcends the purely mechanical aspects of stats and moves, suggesting a deeper, almost mystical element to the trainer Pokemon relationship, where empathy and trust become a source of genuine power. Consider the unsettling yet often fascinating concept of cursed objects or locations within the Pokemon world. From the haunted abandoned mansions where ghost type Pokemon gather to ancient relics said to bring misfortune, these elements introduce a supernatural dimension that goes beyond the typical elemental interactions. Are these curses genuine energetic imprints left by past events or sorrowful spirits, or are they psychological phenomena, manifestations of fear and superstition that are somehow amplified by the presence of certain Pokemon? The line between the natural and the supernatural blurs in these instances, inviting us to ponder the very nature of spectral existence and the unseen forces that might linger in places touched by tragedy or ancient magic. The consistent reports and experiences surrounding these cursed locales suggest that there is more to them than mere folklore, hinting at a reality where the emotional residue of the past can subtly, or sometimes dramatically, influence the present. And what of the ultra wormholes, those shimmering interdimensional portals that occasionally rip through the fabric of space time, allowing ultra beasts to spill into the Pokemon world? These bizarre, powerful creatures hail from entirely different dimensions, exhibiting physiologies and behaviors that are often alien and defy conventional categorization. How do these wormholes form? Are they natural cosmic phenomena, or are they perhaps a consequence of specific energetic disturbances, perhaps even triggered by powerful Pokemon? The suddenness of their appearance and disappearance, coupled with the otherworldly nature of the beings they unleash, paints a picture of a universe far vaster and more complex than we can fully grasp. The very existence of those alternate dimensions, teeming with unique forms of life, challenges our understanding of reality itself, suggesting that the Pokemon world is but one facet of an infinitely diverse multiverse, with fleeting glimpses of other realms occasionally breaking through. Let us gently turn our thoughts to the fossil Pokemon, those ancient creatures resurrected from prehistoric remains found embedded in rocks. The process of revival, often performed by specialized laboratories, seems almost miraculous. How is it possible to bring life back from mere fossilized bone or imprint? Is there a latent life force within the fossils, a genetic code preserved in a way that defies modern understanding of degradation? Or is the revival process more akin to a form of genetic reconstruction, using the fossil as a blueprint to recreate the creature from entirely new organic matter? The Pokédex often describes these Pokémon as having lived millions of years ago, suggesting that the technology to revive them is tapping into a profound secret of life itself, bridging vast chasms of time and evolution. The ability to restore these ancient beings from inanimate objects hints at a mastery over life and death that remains largely unexplained, a quiet testament to the advanced, almost mystical science of the Pokemon world. And then there's the pervasive mystery of the Move Tutor system, where certain individuals possess the ability to teach Pokemon specific, sometimes powerful, moves that they would not naturally learn through leveling up or technical machines. Who are these individuals, and what is the source of their unique pedagogical skill? Is it a deep understanding of Pokemon physiology and psychology, a form of energetic manipulation, or perhaps even a spiritual connection that allows them to impart new abilities? Their knowledge often feels ancient, almost like a lost art, passed down through generations. The fact that they can teach moves across species, often without any clear biological link, suggests a universal language of combat or a fundamental energetic principle that underlies all Pokemon abilities. These tutors stand as quiet custodians of specialized knowledge, their methods, as in the source of their power, remaining largely unarticulated, adding another layer of gentle wonder to the mechanics of Pokemon growth. Let us also muse on the concept of Megas evolution, a temporary yet incredibly powerful transformation that certain Pokemon can undergo when holding a Megastone and resonating with their trainer's keystone. While the mechanism is explained as a bond driven phenomenon, the precise scientific or energetic basis for such a dramatic, short term physiological change remains elusive. How does a stone, combined with a trainer's emotional connection, unlock such immense, latent power, altering a Pokemon's form, abilities, and even type? Is it a reversion to an ancient, more powerful state, or an evolutionary leap fueled by an intense burst of energy? The fact that it is a temporary state, requiring a strong bond and specific items, suggests a delicate balance of forces at play, tapping into a hidden wellspring of potential that is not meant for permanent manifestation. The mystery lies in the precise nature of this resonance and the energetic changes it triggers, transforming a familiar Pokemon into something both recognizable and profoundly new for a fleeting moment. Finally, we consider the omnipresent yet often unexamined question of consciousness in Pokemon. While they clearly possess intelligence, emotions, and the ability to communicate, at least amongst themselves, and sometimes with humans, the nature of their subjective experience remains a mystery. Do they perceive the world in the same way humans do? What are their dreams, their internal monologues, their philosophical ponderings? The Pokédex entries sometimes hint at complex thought processes, strategic planning, and even moral considerations. Yet the full depth of their consciousness, their inner world, remains largely inaccessible to us. Are they driven by instinct, by a form of collective unconscious, or by individual minds as complex and nuanced as our own? The ability of certain Pokemon to learn human languages or to communicate telepathically only deepens this mystery, suggesting a form of sentience that transcends our current understanding, a quiet, profound awareness that permeates the very fabric of the Pokemon world, inviting us to simply be present with his unspoken wonders and to drift into a serene state of contemplation. Let us gently turn our thoughts to the enigmatic phenomenon of shiny Pokemon. These incredibly rare variants possess a different coloration from their standard counterparts, often strikingly so, yet their abilities, stats, and overall species remain unchanged. The Pokédex offers no explanation for their existence, no biological imperative, no evolutionary advantage. Are they simply genetic anomalies, random mutations that occur with an exceptionally low probability? Or is there some subtle, unseen energetic signature, a cosmic flicker that manifests as an altered hue? The thrill of encountering a shiny Pokemon is undeniable, a moment of pure, unadulterated surprise and delight for any trainer. Yet the underlying cause is never truly articulated. They exist as beautiful, vibrant anomalies, a testament to the unpredictable artistry of nature within the Pokemon world, a whispered secret carried on the winds of chance. Their rarity itself is a mystery. Why such a specific, low probability for a purely aesthetic difference? It hints at an underlying system of genetic expression far more intricate than what is readily apparent, a quiet reminder that even the most seemingly superficial aspects of the Pokemon world hold deeper, unexplained mechanisms. Consider next the curious case of regional variance. Certain Pokemon, when found in different geographical regions, exhibit distinct appearances, typings, and even abilities. Alolan Vulpix, for instance, trades its fiery nature for an icy one. Galarian Meowth transforms into a steel type. While some explanations are offered, such as adaptation to local climates or isolation leading to divergent evolution, the precise genetic and environmental triggers for such dramatic and rapid changes are not fully elaborated upon. How does a species fundamentally alter its elemental affinity, its very biological structure, in response to a new habitat, and seemingly within a relatively short evolutionary timescale? It suggests a plasticity, a malleability in Pokemon genetics that far surpasses what we typically observe in the natural world. Are these changes truly evolutionary, or are they more akin to a deep seated, pre programmed adaptability, lying dormant until specific environmental cues awaken them? The very notion of a Pokemon changing its type due to geography is a profound biological mystery, hinting at a dynamic interplay between organism and environment that is far more intimate and transformative than simple natural selection. It implies a living world that actively reshapes its inhabitants in powerful, fundamental ways, a slow, gentle dance of adaptation across vast landscapes. Then there is the persistent, whispered question of legendary Pokemon. These majestic, often unique beings are described as having immense power, playing crucial roles in the creation or maintenance of the Pokemon world, and often possessing intelligence far beyond that of typical Pokemon. Yet their origins are frequently steeped in myth and legend rather than concrete scientific explanation. How did Arceus, the original one, truly create the universe with its 1,000 arms? How did Dialga and Palkia truly control time and space, or Giratina influence antimatter? Are these literal descriptions of cosmic power or metaphorical representations of forces so vast they are beyond human comprehension? The very existence of such entities challenges our understanding of biology, physics, and even metaphysics within the Pokemon universe. They seem to operate on a different plane of existence, their powers often defying the known laws of nature, yet they are undeniably present, influencing the world in profound ways. Their rarity, their often solitary nature, and their profound impact on the world all contribute to an aura of unutterable mystery, a quiet reverence for forces unseen and unexplained, yet deeply felt. Let us contemplate the lingering mystery of ancient civilizations across various regions whose ruins dot the landscape and whose connections to Pokemon are often profound, yet poorly understood. The unknown, for example, are frequently found in ancient ruins, their alphabet like forms hinting at a forgotten language or a primal connection to written communication. What was the true purpose of these civilizations? How did they interact with Pokemon on such a deep, perhaps even spiritual level? Were they simply trainers, or did they possess a more profound understanding, a different kind of bond that has been lost to time? The relics they left behind, from intricate carvings to powerful artifacts, speak of a knowledge and a relationship with Pokemon that modern society has yet to fully rediscover. The silence of these ruins, the faded grandeur of their architecture, beckons us to wonder about secrets they once held, the forgotten wisdom that perhaps allowed them to harness the power of Pokemon in ways we can only dream of now. It's a gentle whisper of history, a reminder that the world holds many layers of forgotten truths. The phenomenon of Pokemon evolving through trade presents another peculiar puzzle. Certain Pokemon, like Kadabra or Machoke, will only evolve when traded to another trainer. This isn't a biological stimulus in the typical sense, nor is it a direct environmental factor. What precisely is it about the act of being exchanged between trainers that triggers such a fundamental biological change? Is it a symbolic break from their previous bond, a moment of profound psychological shift that manifests physically? Or is there an unseen energetic transfer that occurs during the trading process, a subtle recalibration of their biological essence? The mechanics of this evolution are devoid of a clear scientific or even mystical explanation. It stands as an intriguing social and biological anomaly, suggesting that the human Pokemon bond and the interaction between trainers themselves hold a power that can literally reshape a Pokemon's form and capabilities. It's a quiet testament to the interconnectedness of all things in this world, where even a simple exchange can trigger profound change. And what of the Pokeballs themselves? While their function is clear, to capture and contain Pokemon, the underlying technology remains shrouded in mystery. How do they convert a living creature into a beam of light, store it in an impossibly small container, and then reconstitute it perfectly upon release? Is it a form of matter energy conversion, a localized pocket dimension, or something entirely different? The precision and reliability of this technology are astounding, yet the scientific principles behind it are never fully explored. They are simply accepted as a fundamental part of the Pokemon world, a ubiquitous marvel that facilitates human Pokemon interaction. The fact that even powerful legendary Pokemon can be contained within them further deepens the enigma. It suggests a mastery of fundamental physical laws that far exceeds our current understanding, a quiet miracle of engineering that permits the very foundation of the trainer's journey. Let us also consider the habitat distribution of Pokemon. While some species are logically found in specific biomes, water types near water, grass types in forests, there are many instances where Pokemon appear in seemingly incongruous locations, or where their distribution is inexplicably limited. Why does a certain species only appear in one specific patch of tall grass, or only on a particular route? While game mechanics often dictate these limits, in universe, the reasons are rarely explained. Is it due to subtle environmental factors, we cannot detect, or perhaps even invisible territorial boundaries maintained by Pokemon themselves. The precise ecological niches and the factors governing their presence or absence in specific areas remain largely unsaid, leaving us to wonder about the complex, unseen forces that shape the tapestry of Pokemon life across the regions. It's a gentle reminder that ecosystems are intricate, with invisible threads connecting every living thing. The phenomenon of Pokemon speaking human languages is another quiet marvel. While many Pokemon communicate through cries and sounds, some, like Meowth of Team Rocket, can fluently articulate human speech. How does this occur? Is it a rare genetic quirk, an intense learning process, or perhaps a natural ability that only a select few possess or develop? The biological mechanisms for a Pokemon to develop vocal cords capable of human speech, and the cognitive processes required for understanding and forming complex sentences are never elucidated. It blurs the lines between animal intelligence and human communication, suggesting a potential for linguistic development in Pokemon that transcends typical biological boundaries, a soft whisper of shared understanding. Consider the Pokemon Centers. These ubiquitous facilities instantly heal any Pokemon, regardless of the severity of their injuries, often with just a few moments of care from a Nurse Joy. The technology, or perhaps medical technique, employed here is incredibly advanced, capable of regenerating lost limbs, curing status conditions, and restoring full health and vigor almost instantaneously. What is the scientific basis for such rapid and comprehensive healing? Is it advanced bioregeneration technology, or perhaps a form of energetic healing unique to the Pokemon world? The precise methods are never detailed, making these centers a silent testament to an unparalleled medical marvel, providing comfort and reassurance, yet cloaked in a gentle mystery. The concept of IVs and EVs, individual values and effort values, represents another layer of hidden mechanics within the Pokemon world. These unseen stats influence a Pokemon's overall power and growth, yet they are never directly explained in game as biological phenomena. IVs are inherent, like genetic predisposition, while EVs are gained through training and battle, representing nurtured potential. While trainers understand their effects, the precise biological mechanisms by which these invisible values translate into tangible strength, speed, or defense remain unexplained. It's a subtle, almost spiritual layer of data that defines a Pokemon's unique potential, a quiet testament to the underlying complexities of their physical and mental makeup. Let us also ponder the ghost type Pokemon and their ethereal nature. How do these Pokemon exist as spirits, sometimes possessing inanimate objects or living creatures, yet also interact physically with the world? Their biology, if one can even call it that, defies conventional understanding. Are they truly the souls of deceased beings, or are they beings born of spiritual energy? Their ability to phase through walls, to inflict curses, and to often embody emotions like fear or sadness places them in a category that blurs the line between the physical and the metaphysical. The mystery of their existence speaks to a spiritual dimension within the Pokemon world, a whispered presence that reminds us of the delicate veil between life and what lies beyond. The Mewtwo origin story is another fascinating and unsettling mystery. Mewtwo was created by genetic engineering, a clone of the mythical Pokemon Mew, designed to be the ultimate fighting machine. Yet, despite being a man made creation, it possesses sentience, immense power, and a profound sense of self and purpose that transcends its origins. How did scientists manage to imbue a clone with such advanced consciousness and psychic abilities? The ethical implications are apparent, but the scientific means remain largely obscured, hinting at a darker, more complex side of scientific endeavor within the Pokemon world, a quiet warning about the perils of playing creator. Finally, we drift towards the ubiquitous phenomenon of HM moves, hidden machines, and their curious effect. These moves, once taught, could not be forgotten unless by a specific move deleter. While this was largely a game mechanic, in the lore, it implies a fundamental, almost irreversible integration of these abilities into a Pokemon's very being. Why would a move like Cut or Surf become so deeply ingrained that it requires specialized intervention to remove? It suggests a profound and lasting impact on a Pokemon's biological and energetic structure, a quiet testament to the power of learned abilities to reshape a creature's core essence, becoming a part of their very identity. This deep integration hints at a hidden plasticity within Pokemon that allows learned behaviors to become almost instinctual, a permanent part of their being, something that quietly shapes them enduringly. These myriad mysteries, from the cosmic origins of legendaries to the subtle shifts of regional variants, from the silent efficiency of Pokeballs to the quiet dignity of shiny Pokemon, all contribute to the rich, layered tapestry of the Pokemon world. They are not meant to be definitively solved, but rather to invite contemplation, to encourage wonder, and to gently remind us that even in a world filled with familiar creatures, there remains an endless wellspring of the unknown, beckoning us to simply observe, to quietly ponder, and perhaps to peacefully drift into slumber, cradled by the gentle whispers of these unexplained wonders. The world of Pokemon is a soft, comforting enigma, forever unfolding its secrets at a pace that allows for peaceful reflection. A world where every rustle in the tall grass, every twinkle in a Pokemon's eye, holds a story yet untold, an unseen force yet to be understood, an invitation to just be and to rest. And as we consider these quiet whispers of the unknown, let us turn our gaze to the peculiar existence of Rotom, a Pokemon made of plasma that has the uncanny ability to possess electronic appliances. How does a being of pure energy interact with and animate inanimate objects? Is it a form of electromagnetism or something far more esoteric, a subtle manipulation of the very currents that flow through these devices? The lore suggests it enjoys pranks, adding a playful, almost mischievous element to its unexplained abilities. Does its consciousness somehow merge with the machine, or does it simply manipulate it from within, much like a puppeteer? The notion of a ghost like entity inhabiting a washing machine or a lawnmower is both whimsical and deeply perplexing, challenging our understanding of what constitutes life and consciousness in the Pokemon universe. It forces us to reconsider the boundaries between the living and the non living, suggesting that perhaps even the most mundane objects can be imbued with a spark of something more if the right ethereal presence should choose to inhabit them. This quiet phenomenon, Rotom's unique brand of possession, hints at a world where technology and spirit are not entirely separate, but rather can intertwine in ways we are only beginning to grasp. Then there is the enduring mystery of Ditto, the amorphous pink Pokémon capable of transforming into any other Pokémon, perfectly replicating their appearance, moves, and even their cries. While its genetic makeup is often cited as a key, the sheer perfection of its transformations is beyond simple mimicry. How does it instantly access and download the exact biological blueprint of another creature, adjusting its own cellular structure in a blink? This isn't merely changing shape, it's a fundamental, instantaneous reconfiguration at a molecular level. And perhaps even more subtly perplexing, Ditto can even replicate the trainer's Pokemon, suggesting it can adapt to learned moves and individual nuances, not just generic species traits. Is it a master of perception, or does it possess a deeper, almost psychic link to the very essence of the Pokemon it observes? Its ability to transform even into inanimate objects, albeit imperfectly, further blurs the lines of its power. Is it an ancient primordial being, a cellular building block from which all other Pokemon evolved, or a singular anomaly, a biological marvel that defies conventional evolutionary paths? The quiet, unassuming nature of Ditto belies a power that could potentially unravel the very fabric of identity within the Pokemon world, yet it simply exists, a gentle enigma. Consider the phenomenon of Pokemon eggs. While we understand that Pokemon reproduce, the egg itself remains a source of quiet wonder. These eggs don't appear from nowhere. They are often found by a trainer, sometimes in a daycare, sometimes in the wild. How do these eggs form? Are they laid by parent Pokemon in a way that remains largely unseen, or is there a subtle, almost spiritual mechanism at play where a strong bond or specific environmental conditions can manifest an egg? The egg itself is often described as feeling warm or vibrating, hinting at the life within, but the process of its creation, its arrival into the world, is shrouded in a gentle veil of mystery. It's not simply a biological process, there's an element of magical realism, a quiet suggestion that life itself can spontaneously coalesce under the right, albeit unknown, circumstances. The egg is a promise, a future, a tiny, self contained universe of potential, and its very existence, seemingly appearing as if by magic, adds to the serene wonder of the Pokemon world. And what of the Move Tutor and Move Reminder services? These enigmatic individuals possess the ability to teach Pokemon moves they previously forgot, or even moves they wouldn't normally learn through leveling up. How do they possess this profound knowledge and the ability to impart it? Is it a form of telepathy, a deep understanding of Pokemon biology, or a learned technique passed down through generations? The quiet efficiency with which they operate suggests a specialized, almost mystical skill. They can tap into a Pokemon's latent potential, unlocking abilities that were dormant or forgotten. This hints at a vast, underlying repository of knowledge within each Pokemon, a kind of genetic memory or inherent capability that can be accessed and brought to the forefront by those with the right touch. It's a subtle reminder that Pokemon are far more complex than simple animals. They are beings with vast, untapped reserves of power and skill, waiting for the right guidance to emerge. The Move Tutor is a quiet sage, helping Pokemon remember who they truly are, or perhaps who they were always meant to be. Let's gently consider the shiny Pokemon phenomenon once more, but from a slightly different angle. Beyond their aesthetic appeal, what causes this genetic divergence? Is it a rare mutation, a cosmic alignment, or a subtle environmental influence. The incredibly low odds of encountering one suggest a profound rarity, almost as if the universe occasionally decides to paint a Pokemon in a different hue just for the sheer beauty of it. Do these Pokemon possess any inherent differences beyond their coloration? While the games suggest identical stats, the lore often imbues them with a special aura, a heightened sense of wonder. The very existence of a shiny Pokemon is a quiet celebration of individuality, a gentle reminder that even within a species, there can be unique expressions of beauty and rarity. They are living jewels, subtle deviations from the norm that inspire awe and quiet contemplation, prompting us to appreciate the subtle variations that make each creature unique. They are like a rare, perfectly formed snowflake, a gentle whisper of nature's endless creativity. Turning our attention to the mystery dungeon phenomenon, where Pokemon can speak human languages and live in organized societies, building towns and forming rescue teams. Is this an alternate dimension, a dreamscape, or a hidden aspect of the Pokemon world that trainers simply cannot perceive? The profound shift in their cognitive abilities and social structures is a deep, quiet mystery. It suggests that Pokemon possess an untapped intellectual capacity, a hidden depth of thought and emotion that is usually obscured from human understanding. In these mystery dungeons, Pokemon are not just companions, they are sentient beings with complex lives, hopes, and fears, forming communities and facing challenges in a world entirely their own. It's a gentle window into a world where the lines between human and Pokemon understanding are blurred, offering a meditative glimpse into the rich inner lives of these creatures, suggesting a profound, often unspoken wisdom that resides within them. And then there's the quiet enigma of Pokemon contests and Pokemon showcases. While these events focus on beauty, grace, and performance, how do the Pokemon genuinely understand and execute complex artistic routines? Is it simply rigorous training, or do they possess an innate aesthetic sense, an understanding of rhythm and flair? The way a Pokemon can perfectly coordinate its movements, emit dazzling lights, or create captivating illusions suggests a profound connection to artistry, a quiet expression of their inner beauty and creativity. It's not just about battling, it's about expression, about showcasing their unique talents in a way that resonates with an audience. This dimension of Pokemon existence highlights their capacity for self expression, for emotional depth, and for a form of communication that transcends mere battle commands, suggesting a quiet elegance and artistic soul within them. Let us ponder the subtle implications of Poképelago, an island paradise where Pokemon can relax, grow berries, and find rare items, even when their trainer is not actively present. How do these Pokemon organize themselves, tend to the gardens, and navigate their environment without direct human instruction? This suggests a level of autonomy and self sufficiency that often goes unacknowledged. Do they communicate amongst themselves, forming a miniature society with its own jewels and routines? The quiet industry of Poképelago hints at a bustling, independent life for Pokemon, a world that continues to thrive even when human eyes are not watching. It's a gentle reminder that Pokemon are not merely tools or companions, but autonomous beings with their own inner lives and capacities for community and self governance, living out their days in serene contentment. Consider the friendship mechanic. a hidden value that influences a Pokemon's performance in battle and its ability to evolve. How does this intangible bond translate into tangible in game effects? Is it a psychological boost, a heightened sense of trust, or a subtle flow of energy between trainer and Pokemon? The idea that a strong, positive, emotional connection can literally make a Pokemon stronger, more resilient, or even unlock new evolutionary forms speaks to the profound power of empathy and companionship within this world. It's a quiet testament to the idea that love and understanding can be a powerful force, not just emotionally, but physically and even ecologically. Friendship, in the Pokemon world, is not merely a feeling, it's a palpable, transformative energy, a gentle, unwavering force that shapes destinies. The Gigantamax phenomenon, a temporary, massive transformation that certain Pokemon can undergo, also presents a fascinating puzzle. While linked to Dynamax energy from the Galar region, the specifics of how this energy causes such a colossal, often visually distinct change remain vague. Is this an ancient, dormant power within specific Pokemon that is awakened by the energy, or is it a more recent evolutionary adaptation? The unique, often altered appearances of Gigantamax forms, distinct from their regular counterparts, suggest a deeper, more fundamental shift than just scaling up. It's as if the energy taps into a hidden lineage, a primordial form, or an alternate evolutionary path. This quiet, temporary surge of power hints at layers of potential within Pokemon that are usually unseen, a powerful, awe-inspiring display of their hidden might that only certain environments can unlock, a rare and majestic spectacle that makes one pause and simply observe in quiet wonder. And what about the ancient Pokemon that are brought back to life from fossils? The process of resurrection is often depicted as a scientific marvel, yet the mechanism is rarely fully explained. How do scientists reconstruct a living, breathing creature from a few petrified bones? Is it a form of cloning, genetic reconstruction, or perhaps a way to reawaken dormant life energy within the fossilized remains? The quiet reemergence of these ancient beings from eons past is a profound testament to the enduring power of life and the mysteries of preservation. It suggests that even in death, a spark of life can remain, waiting for the right conditions to be rekindled. These resurrected Pokemon are living relics, quiet echoes of a bygone era, reminding us of the deep history of their world and the subtle ways life finds to persist, even across vast stretches of time, a gentle bridge between the ancient and the present. The concept of regional forms, where certain Pokemon have adapted unique appearances and typings based on their environment, is another quiet marvel. While evolution and adaptation are understandable, the sheer diversity and often drastic changes observed across different regions are remarkable. How does the environment trigger such specific and often dramatic phenotypic shifts? Is it purely natural selection over generations, or is there a subtle, almost conscious element to a Pokemon's adaptation, a way of responding to its surroundings? The quiet variations among regional forms illustrate the incredible plasticity of life, the way creatures can subtly reshape themselves to fit their world, like water molding to a new vessel. Each regional form is a gentle story of survival and adaptation, a quiet testament to the diverse ecological pressures that sculpt life into myriad beautiful shapes, a serene demonstration of evolution's artistry. let us reflect on the dream world and the abilities of certain Pokémon, like Musharna, to interact with dreams. What is the nature of this dream world? Is it a collective unconscious, a psychic dimension, or simply a representation of the sleeping mind? The ability of Pokemon to enter and manipulate dreams suggests a profound connection to the subconscious and the ethereal. They can extract memories, share emotions, and even influence the dreamscape itself. This quiet, almost spiritual interaction with the world of dreams hints at a deeper layer of reality, a realm where thoughts and emotions take on tangible form, and where Pokemon might possess a unique key to unlock its secrets. It's a gentle reminder that reality is perhaps far more multifaceted than we perceive, with unseen dimensions and subtle connections that only certain beings can traverse, a peaceful journey into the quiet landscapes of the mind. And finally, consider the omnipresent yet subtle influence of berries. These natural growths possess a myriad of effects, from healing Pokemon to curing status conditions and even altering stats. How do these simple fruits possess such potent and specific powers? Is it a unique chemical composition, a concentrated form of natural energy, or a subtle magical property? The quiet abundance of berries, growing in various habitats, suggests a world where nature itself provides much of what is needed for sustenance and well being. They are nature's gentle remedies, a silent pharmacy provided by the land itself, hinting at a deep, symbiotic relationship between the Pokemon world and its flora. Each berry is a tiny, perfectly formed mystery, a quiet testament to the subtle power of the natural world, offering its gifts freely, inviting us to simply gather and appreciate its quiet generosity. These interwoven threads of mystery, from the grand cosmic scales to the smallest, most unassuming details, combine to form a picture of a world that is always revealing, yet never fully revealed. A world where the unspoken is often the most profound, and where the gentle hum of the unexplained is a lullaby, inviting us to close our eyes and simply be, carried by the quiet current of wonder into a peaceful and restorative sleep.